It's True Crime Tuesday. I can only do politics for so long, Diego. And, well, speaking of killers, that's why we're here today. I remember the day that they put Gacy to death.
I watched it on TV.
And Pogo the Clown, I had to pull this up because what the hell kind of parent would hire this guy? That Gacy was a very prominent Democrat. I think the worst way to die is death by serial killer. So I want to know who they are. I want to know how to spot them. I want to know what they do and how they act. And I feel like every time I get to know one of these guys and I dig into their, how their MO and how they did stuff, I end up going, they would have fucking got me. Like I have no clue. I would not have known. This is a bullet would solve this problem. Like if the state is going to kill you, please make it quick. Do you remember Rolando Cruz? DNA evidence many years later proved it wasn't him. $20 million, and he ended up moving right next to me, Diego. Right next to me.
He's innocent. He didn't do it.
On November 13th, sometime between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., 4 University of Idaho students were brutally murdered by stabbing as they slept after a late night out on the town. This is what you should do before you run with anything like this. What we need to do, because our sourcing is not great, is just call and find out. Can you transfer me to the public information officer, please?
Are you at the media?
Yes. You know what? I'm never going to get rich at this game because I'm just not cold-hearted enough to run with wild theories just for the clicks. And so if you enjoy accuracy, even if it's not the sexiest thing you've ever seen, maybe my content is for you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Megan Fox. I write with pjmedia.com, and today is True Crime Tuesday. We've got a lot going on for you today, and it is my pleasure to bring on our guest for today. His name is Joe Raffa. He is 81 years old. He worked in homicide from 1980 until 1998. He served with the LA Sheriff's Department from May of 1970 until he retired in January of 1998. He worked patrol at Norwalk Station for 2 years and an additional 6 months as a reserve deputy. Welcome to the program, Joe Raffa. Thanks for being here. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday. How are you today?
It's nice to be here. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you too. So you had sent me an email, the way that we met, you sent me an email about one of the articles that I had written about the Idaho 4 murders, where I was comparing some of it to the Night Stalker, and you happened to be working in LA during the time that the Night Stalker was on his rampage of terror. And I thought that was interesting because I think it's really super interesting because so many of us have watched these things. We watched the documentaries. What was it like to be on the force at that time?
Well, I was in homicide at that time and on the task force that actually handled that case. It wasn't my case, but I was involved in the clues that were being brought in daily. I think in 2 weeks we had over 2,000 clues brought in. And we had like 10 teams, pairs out investigating all those clues. And that thing went very quick. I mean, it was a horrific summer in LA. People were pretty frightened. A lot of people were much more polite than you normally see them in circumstances.
Oh, really?
But, yeah, it's like we had a problem with people shooting people on the freeway at one time, and all of a sudden everybody was extremely polite. The people were afraid in the county area, all around LA, because you had no idea where this guy was going to show up. And,
yeah, it's really terrifying. He was one of the I think one of the scariest serial killers because he didn't seem to have a type and he didn't have a particular way of killing. He just would kill with a hammer or strangling and it didn't matter, children, women, men. Um, it terrified me because is that unusual for a serial killer to be so, I guess, eclectic in his style?
Yeah, I think he was a little different because his real uh, job, if you want to call it that, was burglar. He was a pretty good burglar, and his sister was his receiver. He'd steal all the property here and take it to Arizona, and she'd move it. So that was his job, was a burglar. And then all of
Wow.
a sudden he got into getting nasty, I guess. And boy, he did some pretty gruesome things. So, you know.
Terrible, terrible. What was the feeling like then? I know that police and citizenry sometimes have a hard relationship, and I bet at that time the people of LA might have been a little friendlier to police during that time. Did you experience any of that, more appreciation for police at the time?
I guess we were so busy, I didn't really see anybody. We were working 14 hours a day. You go home, go to sleep, come back. Um, just in general, I say people were more receptive to what was being said either by the news or the police through the news. They were paying attention. The lieutenant that was running the task force, uh, there was a man killed by the stalker right across the street from him.
Mm,
And it turned out to be totally random. But at
mm,
first we thought he knew and went after him and got the wrong house. So, I mean, things like
scary.
that mess up the whole investigation because you're trying to figure out what's he doing, and it throws things off track. But the guys that handled that did such a good job. Gil Carrillo and Frank Salerno, they were both pretty well experienced, especially Frank. He worked on the Hillside Strangler
The
case.
Hillside Strangler,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a
There was
really
a
great
there was a
investigator.
moment in the documentary where Frank Salerno was interviewed by somebody in the press, maybe the LA Times. I don't remember which paper, but they did a whole layout on him and his children and his life in the middle of this Night Stalker investigation. And I think, what did it feel like dealing with media that would do things like that and almost like put you guys in danger? I'm sure they don't mean to. I mean, we certainly never mean to do those sorts of things, but we do it we do it anyway because the people read it or they click on it. What is that relationship like with the media when you're working with such a high profile case?
Well, the media is always right on top of you with things like that. So the people that are in charge of it obviously have to speak to them. Generally, we have an information bureau in the sheriff's department that handles the press, and they can set up interviews, and they probably set that up. Um, I guess it was up to Frank what he spoke about. His son was a member of the department, still is, I believe, is a member of the department. Um, so he's,
Interesting.
whether what they talk about, with the press, you never know what's going to come out at the other end. I
Hmm.
mean, sometimes they interject their own thoughts in there, what they think it should be. So it's kind
That's
of tough
true.
sometimes. But
That's true. I think we're seeing it with the Idaho 4 case. The media is getting really impatient and starting to print things that I think the police would prefer they didn't, like interviewing family members and getting them to talk. And um, there is this race, to catch somebody who did it. And I think the media sometimes feels that maybe they can do it too. They can get in on the investigation and solve a crime as well. Do you find that to be unhelpful as a police officer when you're working these homicide cases?
well, the relationship with the press is important because sometimes you have information you want to put out there. Sometimes they can help you with details that they may know of that you're not familiar with. And so you want to have a good relationship with them and be able to uh, ask them for their help when you need it, and for them to come to you and talk about the case so that bad information doesn't get out there. So it's um, back and forth thing with the press. Sometimes they can be difficult, and other times they can really be helpful.
Yeah, I think a good relationship is always a good idea with law enforcement, because I know for me in particular, and I'm sure most members of the media don't want to screw up a police investigation. We want to help. If we could help, we want to help, even if it means putting out misinformation, so that you guys can get what you need to get done, or you can catch somebody. I think that I'm all for it. I'm for the misinformation. I think where it gets upsetting is when police get, and I think this is what you and I kind of argued about on our email exchange, was that when the police put out information that is wrong and then backtrack and then go back again, it feels to me, especially in this Idaho 4 case, that they need a public information officer who is dedicated to getting the story straight, because they've done some things where first they said it was targeted, and so people shouldn't worry because they think the murder is targeted. And then they walked it back and said, no, we didn't mean that it was targeted at a person. Maybe the house was targeted. And then they walked it back again and they went back to saying, no, we meant that it was targeted. And that creates, I think, a distrust with media that wants to trust them and wants to put this stuff out and help them, where now we're going, hold on a minute, can you just get your story straight? Um, have you seen that kind of confusion before? Does it signal anything to you, or is this just the usual, fog of war that we're dealing with?
Well, they're a small department. That makes it difficult for them because they don't have that many people to do the things that you're talking about. But having one person speak to the press is a good idea, because then everything is filtered and you don't make those mistakes of saying something that you originally think is happening, but it actually isn't. The crime scene is so important. The first hours that you're on that crime scene and what you see, and then you take that information that's in your head, go talk to witnesses or people that called in or whatever, and you start talking to them to see where that fits with what you saw in the scene. Depending on how many people you're talking to and how much information they have regarding what happened there is a big deal. And apparently they have nothing. They have nobody that saw anything worthwhile. If they do, they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
But that's when
Is
you're
that your
talking to the
feeling? Is
press.
that your feeling that after, let's see, the crime happened on November 25th. We are now, it is December, what is it, 12th today?
13th,
13th. So what's your feeling as somebody who worked in homicide? If you don't have an arrest in that amount of time, what's your feeling on that? Do you think
Well,
it's coming?
if you don't get anything in the first 48 hours or so, you're not really, you don't really have a strong case. You don't have enough information to really do much with it. But as you pursue it, it may get a lot better. But if it doesn't, then each day that goes past is hurting you. It's detracting from your investigation. It's going to make it harder to put facts together and find facts. I mean, the farther you are away from the scene, the less facts you have. I mean, it's, the things that you see at that scene tell you what happened if you could perceive them. Sometimes you miss things. I mean, you're human. You might miss something. But
That brings up a question of an article that I just read. There's been some question about why are they removing things from the crime scene already. So there was a video of officers removing things from the crime scene, and they reported that they were giving personal items back to the surviving roommates. But some people, forensics experts, are saying, hey, wait a minute. If they're moving stuff, in fact, this is what the death investigator said. I worked as a death investigator for a long time. It's important for families to have something to hold on to. They need those things, but you don't want to do anything that jeopardizes or is to the detriment of the case. Because you cannot predict what's going to happen months from now, a year from now, when this person is caught and they go to trial. So they're giving back the parents some of the items that belong to the victims. And, I guess some experts are saying, hey, that it might be too soon. What do you think about that?
I think that goes to each case. In other words, when you go to a crime scene, maybe just a simple shooting, if I can use that terminology, but a simple shooting where somebody shoots somebody else in the room and that's it, and you kind of know who did what and all that. Well, then the crime scene really loses its importance after a day or so. You've got
Yeah.
what you got there, and that's it. with them, when you don't have any information that helps you investigate the case or helps you look for somebody or have an identified suspect, I mean, then you need to keep stuff in there so you can go back and look at it. Of
That was
course,
my thought too, and it was like, "Oh, I don't know. Why would you why would you move this stuff?
well,
Maybe
well,
something was
maybe,
important."
maybe they felt that moving the stuff that they are moving isn't really interfering. I mean, I don't know if you know what a stabbing crime scene looks like, but it's a
I'm sure
mess.
it's a mess.
I mean, walls, all that stuff. It's there's a lot of information. I had a partner that when I started with him, he was in the middle of a case, and I went with him to the crime scene. I mean, weeks after the case, after the original crime, where a guy murdered his parents, and we found more evidence. You know, we started doing some measuring and this, that, and the other thing, and he got more evidence to add to his case. So it's,
Mm,
you know, the scene was kept because nobody was there. You know, but just in general, it's nice to be able to go back. But once you leave it after the original crime scene day, that's it. It's never going to be the same again. You know, even if nobody's there, things are going to happen. I mean, you know, natural
sure,
progression. So it's up in the air whether you should or shouldn't let anybody touch anything.
sure.
But you got to be careful. That's all. It's
Iron Dog makes a good point. He's a small department, okay, but they have the state police and the feds there. It's true they have like 22 FBI agents assigned to this, plus the state police. So, but I would imagine that it would take a while for a small department to get up to speed. And also, is there some juggling going on with who's in charge? Is that a problem when feds come in and now this is a national thing?
well, when the feds come in, the FBI is a good investigative body, I guess. Uh, Although it's a little up in the air now, but
Yeah, we're
you
not
know,
sure about that anymore.
no, but you know, they want to help. I mean, we've had them come in on cases to help us, and you know, we had stumbling blocks, but they performed, you know, and they helped us. And we're a big department. I mean, we had at one point had 98 investigators in homicide, so it's a large unit. But the with a small department like that, and these people coming in, the FBI can come up with enough people just to overwhelm them. They could probably match the department size with the number of people they brought in. So that's, you know, that becomes pressure. The press becomes pressure. Uh, it's hard on them. I mean, it's not easy for a small department with a case that's, you know, nationwide in their
So
own
tell me
conclave. It's
about
fine.
Tell me about how you got involved in law enforcement. How did that happen for you? What made you decide to go into homicide of all things? That's a pretty tough job, I would imagine, having to see those crime scenes um, and deal with grieving people.
But when I first came out here, I was working for a pet store, a pet company, franchise Dr. Pet Centers. And the lady that was a groomer in the store in Buena Park, uh, we were talking about going on the sheriff's department and all, and I went and took the test and everything, but I didn't pass the oral. So she said, "Don't worry about it. Go on the reserves." So her husband was a reserve deputy in LA, so I did. And then she said, "And you know, when you could take the test again, go do it." So I was in the reserve academy. I went and took the test again in January, got on the department. Um, After all the stuff started working, everybody wants to go to homicide, or quite a few people want to go to homicide because it's a great assignment. Um, I mean, you have everything you want you can get when you're in the middle of an investigation, and you travel a little bit, so it's kind of fun. It's demanding, you know. You're up in the middle of the night, you go to sleep 11 o'clock, you get called at 11:30, and you don't get home till sometime the next day, you know. But
Yeah.
that's the way it was, and it was fun. It was demanding, but it was fun.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to do it if I had the stomach for it. Although I will tell you, as a journalist, I've seen my share of crime scene photos. Uh, Quite a few of them actually, and I seem to be able to handle that okay. But I bet walking into a crime scene is a lot different than looking at pictures.
Oh yeah, yeah. It does. It doesn't. I mean, it just doesn't match up. I mean, when you walk in and see actual human beings in the condition they're in, it's different. and everybody handles it differently. It's not like everybody's going to get sick or everybody's going to, and the only ones that are really bad, the ones that have been there a while, and that could be tough, just physically dealing with it. But mentally, if you're not up to that, that's not going to be your assignment. You're not going to work that job.
Sure. Well, I also wanted to know from you as well about cases that you worked on that were interesting. And like, what's a case that stands out in your mind from LA? Because LA is a town with a lot of murders, so I imagine you've seen a lot of stuff. What's
A
a
lot of
case?
serial murders.
Yeah, sure enough. What's a case that stands out to you that you worked on?
The Bonin case, William Bonin, the freeway strangler or freeway killer.
The freeway killer. I
He
don't know
was
if I
he was
know this one.
executed about 10 years ago, I think. Um, he killed about 16 kids.
Mm,
He's- he when I got on into homicide, I was working missing persons, and then they drew me into the task force, and I did a lot of gopher work, running around and stuff, and we got to chase or surveil Vernon Butts, his partner, and we eventually got Butts at his house, and I think it was in Downey, and what we found there kind of put them in the case solid. We found the kids' blood. We found blood in the bedrooms and all that matched blood that we had, from the victims and all that. And the senior investigators were working on getting Bonin, and they had us going around interviewing people and talking to people. And with what we got there, we found the kid's identification. Butts pointed it out in the shack in the backyard, which put the kid at the house. And then he copped out to all of it. And then it was just a matter of getting Bonin. Eventually, he copped out to everything, but he wouldn't do it in court. We sat and listened to him. He started out at the drive-in theater, Highway 39 drive-in theater in Buena Park. He and Butts were sitting there. Bonin had been in jail at the men's colony up in San Luis Obispo for sex crimes. He and Rodney Alcala and a couple other people, and they together decided that if they ever went out again and started doing this, that nobody would live, that they would kill them all. And he went out and started again with the kids and started killing them. When they left the theater that night, drove out, they decided they're going to grab the first kid they saw. They went up and made a U-turn. He got into another car, and another kid walked up, and that was their first victim. And it went on. There was a German tourist that he picked up, and he wound up in a fight with him. And it was about a 16 or 18-year-old hiker, and he was in pretty good shape. But Bonin is about my size. He wasn't a big guy, no more than 160, 170 pounds at the time. And he overwhelmed the guy and killed him, But there was a chance the guy could have stopped him at that point in time.
It's terrible. It kills me every time I hear these stories. I just think, why do people behave this way? Why do they do this? Why do they feel that they need to take out whatever anger and rage they have on other people and take away other people's sons and daughters? It makes me sick. Do you ever find yourself asking those questions as you're doing this? I know you're focused on just trying to stop them. So do you even really care why they're doing it? Does it ever bother you? Does it keep you up at night? Like, why do these people do this?
No, that's not me. But you wonder why they do it. But I'm not a psychologist.
Yeah.
My job was to look for them and that kind of thing. But with all of them, I always say that anybody is capable of doing anything. When somebody says, "Oh, he wouldn't do that," oh, he will. Somebody will. Anybody you talk
It's a
to is
scary
capable
thought.
of some level of violence. For whatever reason, you put a woman with her kid, and you try to hurt the kid. There's a woman that's not violent, but you try to hurt her kid, and what happens?
Sure. Oh,
I think that's
I'll
the
go
way when you're
off.
dealing with criminals. You don't know what they're doing.
That's true. That's true. 87 Sparky is in the chat says, thank you, Joe, for telling us your stories. You know, we sometimes wonder, why do we like true crime so much? I have a lot of women in my audience. and women tend to be the people who watch true crime and who, are into this entertainment genre, even though we hate calling it entertainment. But I think it's because women are usually more likely victims of violent crimes. Well, maybe not more likely. I think that there are more men who are killed by other men, but for some reason it's scarier for women. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because we're used to looking over our shoulder. I don't know. But what are your thoughts on the true crime genre, coming from someone who has worked in this as a career and has had such a close encounter with crime? Do you have an opinion of true crime and the way that it has kind of exploded even on YouTube, with like YouTube investigators and, all these channels dedicated to trying to solve unsolved murders?
Well, obviously I'm interested in crime, so I like to watch programs about crime also. TV shows and movies obviously aren't very accurate. Or, Dragnet was probably the most accurate one, the original one.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
was boring, what I mean? Because you do a lot of walking, but a lot of driving now. But, it's all mundane things, talking to people, and things like that. There's not a lot of excitement in homicide because everything's done when you get there, There have been a few occasions where deputies have gone to the scene of a murder, called homicide. And in one case in Norwalk, a guy went by and started a drive-by on the homicide investigators when they were there. So you never know what's going to happen. But at homicide, it's not really that dangerous per se. But when I watch crime shows,
they make it look like that in the movies, where the crime investigators are always being hunted by the killer at the end.
The thing with women, I think, is the crimes against women are more personal. Men, shootings in bars, fights, things like that, they're not planned, so to speak. Women are targets, and that makes it difficult, so.
Yeah, that makes it really scary. I know you got to go. You've got to take your wife to a doctor's appointment, and I don't want to keep you, but we sure have enjoyed having you here. And I hope you come back sometime, because I know you have a lot more stories, Joe.
Yeah.
And I want to hear some more. So
anytime.
All right. Well, thank you. And so much. Joe Raffa, retired sheriff's, he's from the sheriff's office in LA. Amazing stories, lots of stuff to talk about with homicide. We sure appreciate having you. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Love him, and I want him to come back because I know he has lots of stories, but he's got husband things to do, so we're going to let him go. But that was a lot of fun. You guys like him, I'm sure. I love talking to law officers and people who have done this for a living, and I think it is much different than what we see on television, and we need to remember that and be careful, especially when we're watching true crime, webcasts and things with people who are not professional investigators, because they're going to have a totally different take, than professional investigators, and they won't be as careful. And that's something that we're going to talk about today with Idaho 4 murders, because there have been some developments, or I guess on the web, there've been developments on YouTube with the YouTube investigators, and they've got a theory, but is it the right one? I'm not so sure. However, right now, it has been almost a half an hour. And you know what that means? Do you know what it means? My alarm's about to go off. And you know what that means? It means I cannot sit on my butt for hours at a time without getting up and getting my blood moving and doing some squats.
Do squats!
And that means you have to do it with me. And I have a special guest today who's going to help us get motivated to get our fat asses off the couch and actually do some squats. We're upping our game today. Now, everybody pay attention. We're upping our game. We're going to do 1 minute and 22 seconds of whatever exercise you can do. You are not to mold into your couch now. You are to get up out of your chair, get up off the couch, and you're going to do whatever you can do in 1 minute and 22 seconds. If you don't want to do squats, you can do some push-ups, you can do some high knees, you can do something. But let's get a little motivation from my good friend.
You impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter. Can you just get up, walk 1 mile?
Just squat!
Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever. Get off the chair, get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
All right, if you're not out of breath by now, you're doing it wrong. So how are all you fat asses? Are you doing good? Are you feeling motivated? I even did some arm circles. I got some shoulder shrugs in there. I got my squats done. We gotta get the blood flowing, you guys. We cannot just sit here. By the way, I sent that to Nick this morning, and he never watches anything that I send him because he's too busy and stuff. I said, you better watch this. It's 1 minute and 22 seconds out of your life, and I worked on it hard, and it will make you laugh, so just open it. He did open it, and he responded laughing his ass off. So I thought that we could just use some fat shaming, because it's better than me just counting to 20. You guys, do you know that there used to be aerobics competitions? Like, are you aware that there are aerobics competitions that were in the 80s? That's what those videos were from, with all the groups of people like doing the ridiculous jazzercise. They were competitions. The 80s were so fun. The 80s were so fun. You know what, 87 Sparky? Do you know what Nick would say to that? That you walk a little over 2 miles? Walk farther. Walk farther. Or have a forklift drag you. It's so funny. I thought you would appreciate that. All right, let's check the Rumble chat. Hey, how's Locals doing? Guys, are you on my Locals? Because tonight's the night. You know what tonight is, right? Do you know? Are you aware? Tonight is the night that we are watching Casey Anthony Part 2, Episode 2 on the Locals channel. Now, if you're watching on Rumble right now, I just want to let you know, there is a link on Rumble. You can just sign up for my Locals right from Rumble. They have an embedded link, and you just hit it on Locals. Just push it with your finger. Now that we got you all warmed up, your fingers should be feeling good. You can just push that button, get over to my Locals. It's meganfox.locals.com, or if you're on Rumble, just hit the button. Don't be lazy. And you're going to get movie night with me. And that starts tonight. Why is my logo over my face? I need to take the logo off my face. That looks ridiculous. There we go. All right. And if you sign up for an entire year, you're going to get, with promo code PANTS, you're going to get 1 month totally free and locked in at the $3 per month price, which you are not going to get ever again. This is just now for the first Locals fam. I'm inviting my very closest people at this price, and starting January 1st, it's going up to $5 a month. And I know that you want to join us. You want to watch movies with us. You want to watch true crime documentaries with us. And right now it's Casey Anthony, and she lies her face off, and it is absolutely hilarious to watch it with us with cocktails and popcorn. It's a good time, and you need to be there. If you are not in the Locals fam, you need to get there. Let me get over to the Locals chat. Is anything happening over there? Let's see, Locals. Where are we? There is a live chat open. If you are on my Locals and you want to participate in the live chat, there is one open under today's live stream. So if you want to go over there and do that, and that's one thing, if you can't pay for Locals, you can still follow me there, and please do that, because you will get all of my links to live streams when I'm going live. You know how YouTube never gives you a notification? That will not happen on Locals. They will not keep you from me. They are not censors. They are great people who care about us, and they want us to have fun. And there's no reason why we can't have fun. And you know what else is happening over there? cooking streams. Do you know what I did right before I came on the show today? I had 20 minutes and I needed to get dinner on and get my kid a grilled cheese sandwich. I got it done in 10 minutes on a live stream for locals only. And it was fun. I'm making chicken fajitas. And if you want that recipe, all you need to do is become a local subscriber. meganfox.locals.com. It's the best place to be. Liz says, can I promote Crack in the Box, please, on YouTube? What is that? I don't know what that is. What's Crack in the Box? I don't know what it is, but go there and subscribe or something. What is Crack in the Box? Oh, God. All right, let's see. Yeah, part 2 is coming up tonight, you guys. Don't miss it. Casey Anthony, Lies, 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 Lies or Face Off. That's happening tonight. Not this bitch. 8 p.m., by the way, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, Zrake Mom on Rumble says, Megan, because of you, I have set a 15-minute timer and now do at least 1 full minute of some sort of exercise. Thank you for the encouragement. Aw, I love that. I'm so glad. Ziggy Shrugged on Rumble also says, hi, Mrs. Fox. Found you through Mr. Ricado's stream. Love your vibe, your content, and demeanor. Going to be joining your locals as soon as my workday is over. Yes! Yay! You guys, it's so fun over there. I'm going to locals more than I go to Twitter. I'm not kidding. If you want to find me, that's where I am. You can send me direct messages. I'm interacting with our locals people all the time. I'm in the live chats all the time. It's so fun. So fun. So please come on over and sign up. Even if you don't pay, just follow me on locals because it's free just to get the notifications and stuff. If you want to take part in the live chats and the movie nights, that's when you have to sign up and pay. But if you just want the notifications and there's free content there too. I put some free cooking streams on there as well. So and you're not going to get that anywhere else. I'm not putting that on YouTube. It's not going on Rumble. It's not going anywhere. It's not going on PJ Media. Only on locals. Okay. My locals pitch is now over. We have to talk about God, I can't believe we have to talk about this, but we have to. Before my next guest gets here at 12, I have Chris Queen coming on from pjmedia.com. He is one of my editors, and he has written a story about a cold case that is cracking open right now from the 1950s, and it's very interesting. But before we get to that, I need to deal with something. It's unsavory, and I don't like doing it, but it's perfect for True Crime Tuesday because this is a crime. Lying is a crime. And someone is online lying about me. And when that happens, I'm going to call it out every single time. All right. You guys remember that I covered the Johnny Depp trial, and you also remember that I wrote this book. This all began with this book, Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salome to #MeToo. I wrote an article before the Johnny Depp trial started. I wrote one when the recordings came out that showed that Amber Heard was an abuser, and it was her admitting to the finger and her admitting, and telling him to suck it up and saying that she hit him in the face and, oh, get over it, all that stuff that we all heard. So I wrote an article saying, this is why we can't just believe women. We have to believe the evidence. And I highlighted my book. Well, I got a call a couple days after I wrote that article, and it was back in probably 2019. It's been a while. I got a call from a guy named Richie Albertini. At the time, he wasn't everywhere the way that he is now. I didn't know who he was at all. He gave me his information, which checked out. I vetted him as far as his criminal background, which he admitted to that he had done jail time for certain crimes, that he was connected to Johnny, that they had spent a lot of time at the Viper Room together. So I was like, oh, interesting conversation. So I listened to the guy. He called me to tell me that the book is great and he thinks I should write another one about this case. And people tell me all the time, I need to write a book about this or that. And I just, that's what I say. Albertini told me he had a lot of information and evidence that would help exonerate Johnny. And I did what I always do to people who tell me they have evidence of things. I say, great, make a Google Drive, upload all your evidence to the drive. I'll go through it. And if I find something worthy of writing about, I will do it. He uploaded some things. And most of them were not what I would call, none of it was evidence. I never wrote anything about anything that he gave me. But I did entertain conversations with him for about 2 years. He would call every once in a while, and I would hit the tape recorder and just listen to him go. So all of my conversations with him, well, almost all of them are recorded. It has come to my attention that Richie Albertini has now, and I did not know, by the way, the things that he told me some extremely damaging things about Paul Baresi, who is a private investigator who was hired by Amber Heard to get the goods on Johnny. And what he found was nothing. And in fact, he ended up turning on Amber and going to the press and saying, I found absolutely nothing. Well, Albertini told me some very damaging things about Paul Baresi. He told me that he was dangerous. He told me that he was a murderer. He told me that he was unhinged. And, I don't know this guy from Adam. And all I know is he has a criminal background. So if he's telling me about other criminals, I believed it. And so when Paul Baresi emailed me, I was like, oh, crap. I don't want this guy. I don't want to be on his radar at all because he sounds dangerous, according to Albertini. So I never responded to him because I was scared of him. And I continued to listen to Albertini for 2 years. I never wrote anything that he gave me because he never gave me any evidence. And by, I don't know, months before the trial, he tried to pull some bullshit on me with some story. And I knew it was fake. I knew he set me up. And so I pretty much stopped talking to him after that. He tried to give me some story about somebody that worked in Gavin Newsom's office. And I talked to this supposed person from Gavin Newsom's office, and it was obviously a prank. He had set this guy up to give me a false story. And I could tell because I vet evidence. And it was a false story. Anyway, it's come to my attention that Richie Albertini has been telling people publicly, including Ben Chu, that I'm working with him and writing a book with him. This is false. It is not true. And I'm going to play some audio for you so you can hear him tell Ben Chu this story about me, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then I'm going to play the tape for you of me and Albertini on the phone, of him telling me I need to write a book, and me doing what I do to everybody who tells me I need to write a book with them. I go, sure. And I have no intention of doing any of it. I did not say, yes, I'll write a book with you. I was just like, okay, continue. So let's hear some of this.
We can prove it. We're going to just take this to court, and we know that Johnny didn't do anything.
By the way, this is on whose channel is this? This is on Vault of Truth. So let's hear this. This is Albertini speaking with Ben Chu.
We can show a jury that she lied about some things and that she doctored photographs. I mean, how can they believe her about anything else?
Well, how about that she's got hitmen working for her, trying to gaslight Johnny into jumping off of a roof of a building?
What? What are you talking about?
That's what they got going on. And here's the other interesting caveat to all this. And this is why this is gaining so much attention. Paul Baresi essentially worked for Robbie Kaplan. Robbie Kaplan is now going after the President of the United States for E. Jean Carroll.
That's true.
Now,
yes, I got that.
Now, it's a problem that she's got a known hitman.
You have talked to the police.
I have spoken to the police. The whole Paul Baresi thing, I'm working with a detective over there by the name of Sam Murillo. This is the God's honest truth. I can put you in touch with him. He told me we're having a little bit of trouble from upstairs. He said, go public with this as soon as you possibly can.
So you are?
I'm trying. I got Megan Fox, she's the woman who wrote the book. It's originally, if you look at the title, it says Believe Women, and then that's crossed out. It says Believe Evidence. She's she's hardcore. She's got every single document. She's been with me since the beginning. She's got everything in her Dropbox because we're going to write about this.
Well, good. Well, let's keep in touch and stay safe.
What? Okay. Thank you, Richie, for saying I'm hardcore. That's true. I am. You know what else I do hardcore? I vet my sources, and all your evidence that you gave me that we put in the Dropbox. I went through it all, and there isn't jack shit I could use. And to say that I'm working with you, that we're going to write about it. Like I told you, I'll write about it when you give me some evidence. I've never seen any. And then I find out afterwards that this guy, Albertini, makes false police calls and calls CPS on Tug's kids. Tug, who is a friend of mine, because this guy lied to me the entire time, said he was working for Johnny or wanted Johnny exonerated, then turns around and now says that he is working with Amber Heard. He's changed his entire story, that he's working with Amber. That was the last conversation I had with him. He calls me up and he says, Amber wants to hire me. And I'm like, why would you ever do that? Why would you ever work for someone that you know, because he had been telling me for months, you know she lied about, why would you ever take money from her? And he pulled my chain and he said, you're right. I shouldn't do that. Yes, God spoke to me and said I shouldn't do that. You know what? I've got that on tape. We should listen to it, shouldn't we? We should listen to that. Let's listen to the tape. Hang on. I got to send my editor something real quick, though. He's asking me for something. So hold on. All right. Let's get over to the tape, shall we? Because I dug through my recordings and I found it. I found the recording where Albertini is telling me that he thinks I should write a book, and also me telling him, why would you work for Amber? Why would you do that? Because, of course, I didn't put a timestamp down on this. So hold on. I got a verify code now. What is this? These two verification things that they do are really annoying, aren't they? 1, 2. No, I wrote the wrong thing. 1, 2, 2. All right. Let's get in here and see where it is. There it is. All right, here's the call. Let's play it. I think it's towards the end. Let me listen real quick. Hang on a second. All right, hold on a second. All right, listen, while I'm finding it, because I did not have this queued up, and I got to find the section because it's like a 30-minute phone call, and I'm not going to play the whole thing. Where's the Rumble link? Here, I'll give you the Rumble link. Hold on. While we are... Oh, wait, you want the locals link. Sorry. Okay, hold on. Locals link is coming. Make up your mind. Hold on. You mean the link to the live chat that's on right now? All right, hold on. Anyway, while I'm finding the timestamp on this phone call that I want to show you, I'm going to play a little video for you while I'm doing that. Okay, so hang on one second. Here's the locals link. Dropping that in the chat. And then I'm going to play something while I'm looking for this. Hold on. Oh, you know what? Since we're talking Johnny, let's play Camille. We haven't played Camille in so long. Won't that be fun? All right. So while I'm getting my clip, we're going to play Camille. Here it comes.
An angel dressed in white in Fairfax, Virginia, and she had to fight a serpent in his sides that was spewing lies. But don't look in his eyes. I know that this is the end. When all the money ran out, so did all the friends. And right now, you're lying on the stand, legend on not the same, you understand. Camille, brighten up the room wherever you go. The sunlight will make you glow.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm ready. Here we go. Going to play the audio of the phone call that I had, one of them of many, with Richie Albertini, so you can hear what those were like. Now, I did listen to him and I did talk to him about what I would talk to you guys about, you know. So, and I found him entertaining to talk to. That's how he's good at keeping people on the phone. Like he'll tell you these fantastic stories, and then you ask him like, "Okay, well, you got any evidence of that?" And like, nothing. Okay, so but I did talk to him. I talked to him quite a bit. So here we go. And I'm a journalist. That's my job. My job is to listen to people and to keep them talking and to try and find a story. And he said he had a lot of them. They just never panned out. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna play this.
Not cry as when she's acting. She
Oh.
Do you remember she said, I've seen her cry and I know what it looks like for real. So she was crying the day that I saw her when she was upset because we worked on crying and she couldn't do it. So
Gotcha.
she was snorting something like menthol.
That makes sense. Menthol, Tiger Balm, because that's what actors use to make them cry.
Something to make her eyes water.
That's incredibly good input. Megan, you're smart, Megan. You're observant. You're absolutely right. Listen, I just got
so hard. She was trying so hard to cry, and she couldn't squeeze out even one tear.
I hear you. All right, let's do this. I just got to the restaurant that we're going to. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to watch your coverage for a few hours. And then we'll talk again on Monday, and we'll see what we can work out.
Great. Do you want me to send you my YouTube page? You might have a hard
time. Yeah, send me your YouTube page. Absolutely. What did you just get, a YouTube page?
Oh, God, no. I've had it for years.
But you just started using it?
No, I've been on it for years.
Because the other day when I met Maria Farmer, she said that she saw you on YouTube. And I said, I didn't know Megan had a YouTube channel.
Well,
and
it just definitely took off. I would say back in whenever Sex and the City reboot that And Just Like That was on, it took off because I was doing reviews of how bad it is. That's woke bullshit, terrible show now.
Gotcha.
And they that went real viral. So then I got a bunch of new followers. And then this Johnny thing happened. And I've been researching him forever. I've been doing this forever.
Megan, me and you have been talking about this for 2 years.
Right. Well, yeah, you and I have been talking about this for years. So I started covering the trial. I'm live streaming it every day that it's on. I live stream the whole thing. And so then I've got
this was during the trial.
Lawyer, so she comes on and she gives the legal perspective, and we're doing the whole thing. And then the other night, I got invited to go on the Ricada Law stream, and my channel exploded. I'll send you that interview because
send me that, and I'll tell you, Megan, what's happened since we last spoke is that what's making me go viral is I posted that audio tape between me and the director of Department of Children and Family Services, the guy that works directly for Nancy Pelosi. And when I posted that, I went completely viral. And right now we're just trying to reel it all in because of all the information I got about so many people. We're trying to figure out who we talk to about what. I know that Megan Fox is my first person I ever spoke to about Johnny and Amber. And I know that I keep my word. And I want to work with you first. I think it's a terrific idea to write a follow-up to your first book when the trial is over.
Well, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about doing that, yes.
Let's do it. And I will work on it with you. And I'll give you
No response from me. I was thinking about writing a follow-up. That's true. He says, I'll do it with you. Me. That's me. Cat eyes.
Thing from the inside that I know. I'll talk to you about Rick Schwartz, Eric George. It was Rick Schwartz who told me, in no uncertain terms, Elon Musk is funding this entire thing.
Well, see, now, where's the proof of that, though? See, that's something that everyone's talking about, but nobody has any proof that he's doing it. So that's not something.
Well, I wish I could have got it. I wish I could have got it in writing. I mean, I'm talking to her attorneys. They know who's paying their bill.
Can't print it if you don't have the evidence.
For whatever nefarious reason they want to be. I mean,
who's their licenses for that, Megan? These guys are not. Eric George is a big-time lawyer.
This guy's not looking to lose his license.
Okay, look, if he knows that that's happening, then he needs to give you a document, leak a document that shows it's happening. If he wants people to know that, he can't just spread the rumor. It's not, nobody is going to run with, hey, Elon Musk is, I'm not going to talk about
Megan, you're a reporter. What's to stop you from just calling Eric George and saying, was Elon?
All right. Anyway, you get the gist. That is the only thing that I ever said to him about a book, which was, I am thinking about writing a follow-up, which is true. And then he pipes in with, well, I'll help you write it. And I go, say nothing. And he turns that into, we're writing a book together. No, Richie, stop it. Don't ever call me again. And especially after I found out what you did to Tug's kids. Yeah, fuck off. Like, seriously, fuck off. Oh God. And I don't like doing this. I don't like doing this at all. You guys know I don't like the drama, but when you put my name in your mouth and you get on YouTube or wherever and you lie about what our relationship is or about what I'm doing or what I have done, fuck off. Like, you and I are going to have words. And the other thing that he did that really bothers me is how he instilled that fear in me about Paul Baresi, who, by the way, I did talk to since I found out what he did to Tug's kids, what Albertini did to Tug. And Paul is the nicest guy. And I felt so stupid for being, hoodwinked by Albertini to believe that this guy was some kind of dangerous maniac. He's not dangerous. He has a really good story to tell. And he actually has evidence, Richie. He's got evidence that shows his interviews that he did with people. 87 Sparky says, oh, Megan, you're so smart. Yes, he's a good bullshitter, right? Although I hate it when people say stuff like that to me. Like, it's not getting to me when people say that. I get it. Like, I get what they're doing. It's, the bullshit artist thing. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. But, look, I don't get my name out your mouth, Richie. Stop using my name. Stop it. Just stop it. Yeah, Paul is a sweetheart, totally. And I felt so bad. And I told him, I said, Richie scared the hell out of me. He told me you were like a murderer and like you would hunt me down. And it turns out Richie's the one doing that to people. He's hunting people down. He's calling CPS on people's kids. And if you ever come near my kids, Richie, you're going to have a problem, a big one. Don't even think about it. So, and if I dig through my records some more, I know I've got a bunch more of you recorded because I always record my calls. So whatever. And I never delete anything. So I just wanted to address that because none of what he says about me is true at all. So if you hear Richie Albertini saying anything else about me out there, you can just know that none of it is true. Yes, he's accused Paul of killing a couple of different people. I mean, it's just, if he had anything, Paul could sue him for defamation. But the point is, he probably doesn't have anything, and he's just out there trying to get attention. So, yeah, just saying that had to be addressed, and it is done now, and we are moving on. Chris Queen's going to be here shortly, and we're going to talk about a cold case that he has written about on pjmedia.com, where you can go and read my latest articles. And in fact, why don't we go take a gander over there, shall we? Because there's some good stuff. Muffin Rando says, Albertini just lost in court. What was he in court for? Where did this happen? Tell me about it. Send me a link. I'll report that. I imagine if he's running around suing people, he's not going to do very well because he tells an awful lot of whoppers. Just an awful lot of whoppers, and he does bad things. So, yeah. Okay. And you guys should know that in my profession, I talk to a lot of characters. Like tons of them. And so that's something that I do on a regular basis. And of course, I don't trust everybody. I don't trust anybody, but I do listen, especially if they're entertaining. The more entertaining you can be, the better. And the longer I'll stay on the phone with you. Upon the Horizon on Rumble says, if you don't think Megan Fox is dangerous, just look at what she did to an oven. And let that be a warning to you. I will burn your ass. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, that's a good one. Upon the Horizon also said, "Yeah, he just invited himself to be your co-author. Just great when people want credit for the hard work you do for some suggestions or ideas that they have that you've already been working on." That's exactly it. My face every time people say that to me, they're like, "Hey, I could write your next book with you." I'm always like this. No thanks. Just I don't know what to say to that other than nothing. No. No. Oh God. All right. Let's look at PJ Media right now. All right. Let's get over here. All right, go up to the columnist, you go over and click on my name, and you will find all the things that I have written so far. So I wrote about the Twitter Files Part 5, that employees from commie countries thought censoring Trump was a bad idea. That was the interesting part about Part 5, in my opinion. But also, I have this news story about Montana family court corruption that runs deep in Gallatin County. You guys, this one's a big one. This is seriously involved. This is some serious true crime inside the family court system in Montana. And we are going to get into that. I don't know if we'll get into it today or not. I don't know if we'll have time. And I may want to schedule it for next week when somebody from there can come and speak to it. Because I not only cover true crime of, bad guys that hurt people out there, I also cover true crime that includes government officials who hurt people. And this is one of them. And her name is Standing Master Magdalena Bowen. She is acting as a judge, but she's not really a judge. She's appointed to do family court cases, and they call them standing masters in Montana. And what she's been doing, let's just read a little letter to the editor, shall we, of what someone has written about her. Bowen doesn't deserve honor of presiding as judge. Please vote no to Magdalena Bowen. I have been a physician in this community for over 20 years. While treating patients the past 3 to 5 years, I have repeatedly witnessed the devastating consequences of Standing Master Bowen's rulings in Gallatin Family Court, including destroyed families, damaged reputations, derailed careers, financial hardship, and traumatized children. These families are afraid to speak out because many of them are still involved in ongoing cases and fear judicial retaliation. So today, I am their voice. Magdalena Bowen does not deserve the privilege and honor of presiding as a judge or standing master in Bozeman, Gallatin County. She was running for judge. I believe she lost her bid for it. In my article, which I will drop the link, I want you guys to go clickety-click on it because I could use your help pushing that back to the top of the page. That's how I get paid. And if you cannot join me on meganfox.locals.com, if you can't pay to be a subscriber there, you can clickety-click on my articles and help me out there. But if you look at this article, there are some seriously terrible videos in here about children who are being forced into reunification camps by Magdalena Bowen. I just want you to hear just a little bit of this. This is Paul Johnson talking about him and his sister's experience with Magdalena Bowen and what she did to them.
Hello, my name is Paul Johnson. I was born and raised in Bozeman, Montana, and I'm 19 years old. For the last 10 years, my 3 sisters and myself have had the horrible experience of being subject to the dangerous parenting plans ordered by the standing master in Gallatin County. My biological father has always suffered from some kind of mental health disorder. When this standard form of neglect turned physically violent, my mother divorced him. When my father could no longer physically access my mother, he turned his unhealthy attention to us kids. He would hurt us in strange ways because he knew that would be a way to continue to hurt my mother. This is called domestic violence by proxy. My father would do things like not feed us dinner until we said, "Mommy is a whore." He hated my mother for leaving him and destroying his image. As this abuse continued at my father's house, my sister and I wanted to be with my mom as much as possible. We were safe with her at home. When we turned 14, my sisters and I were granted permission to live exclusively with our mother. Around this time, my father found a new girlfriend who introduced him to her counselor. My father was concerned about his reputation and how bad it looked that his own children didn't want to be with him. This counselor told him that he needed to call it parental alienation and hire a particular guardian ad litem who had a friendship with the standing master. If he followed her lead, she would be able to get this to court to force him to get his children back for a fee of only $10,000. He could buy his children back in court.
So
It
criminal.
worked. Over 3 years ago, my two little sisters got in a school bus and they never got off. Without a hearing, the court ordered that my sisters be taken from school and have no contact with my mother, me, or my older sister, except at the occasional supervised visit that we have to pay $1 per minute to see them. Over the next several months after my sisters were taken, our family Bridges trained guardian ad litem tried 3 different times to get the standing master to take me to out of state to Family Bridges reunification program. But thankfully, my mother exposed the scheme publicly enough that the standing master decided not to force me into Family Bridges, like she has done with so many other children in this state. The parental alienation scam is used so much in Gallatin County that I joined a youth support group to help kids like me. I would ask you to please put laws and real accountability in place to stop the judges from taking children away from their safe parent on this invented condition called parental alienation. I needed help and was punished for telling the truth to my GAL because she makes so much money funneling kids into the parental alienation programs. My 2 little sisters are still being punished daily and forced to live with our father, and they have suffered in ways I can't even talk about. I would ask that you completely eliminate parental alienation as a tool abusers can use to manipulate the court, and put measures in place to prevent greedy mental health professionals from capitalizing on the vulnerable children. Thank you for everything you're doing to help us.
All right, that's enough of that. My goodness, the corruption is out of control. If you guys enjoy Yellowstone with Kevin Costner, like I do, and then you find out that in Montana, the corruption is just as bad as that show. It's a little bit tough to take, and we'll be getting more into that maybe next week. But coming to the stream right now is one of my editors, Chris Queen from pjmedia.com. How are you, Chris?
Great. How are you?
I am excellent. Welcome to True Crime Tuesday.
Glad to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad you wrote about what you did. I was so interested in this column that you wrote. I want to get over to it. Let's share it on the screen so everybody can see it. And everybody needs to go follow Chris Queen as well, because Chris is great. He's my editor. He puts up with a lot of shit from me. So he deserves the follow.
I appreciate that.
Can you imagine having to edit me? It's no easy task. Chris is
usually fun though. I will say that.
Well, thank you for saying that. Paula has had enough most of the time. Let's see. So you have written, why don't you tell us about this article? Tell us how you came across this. This is so interesting. But Philadelphia police finally solved the identity of the boy in the box cold case from 1957.
This came through on a notification on my phone. It was just something that I stumbled on. I wasn't looking for anything to write that particular day. That was what, like Thursday of last week, I think. And it just it popped up on a notification on the phone. And so I looked into it and thought, this is crazy. This is a really cool story. You know, a lot of times we rail against technology, and rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
But modern technology in this case helped at least identify the kid, even if even if his family may not get justice. It still is an amazing story.
Yeah. So tell us what happened here. What is this story about? Who is the boy in the box?
Okay, the boy in the box was they found him in a neighborhood in Philadelphia in 1957. The kid was literally in a box, wrapped in a blanket, and it was 4 to 6 year old child is what they figured. And they never really did. I don't know how hard they were able to try with the technology they had in 1957 to identify, a kid that they couldn't find. But using DNA technology, using basically like the same stuff that we use for ancestry DNA and that sort of thing, they found out that he was 4-year-old Joseph Augustus Zarelli, a kid who was born in 1953 and I guess disappeared. They obviously they had him in the missing persons database, but I don't know how they didn't connect that earlier. That's a whole different story. But they were able to identify him. They didn't identify his parents or family members because even though his parents are dead, he has siblings who are still alive. So they tried to kind of keep their privacy quiet, which makes sense.
Well, I think they think they still might catch a killer, which is unbelievable. So they're keeping it quiet, which is probably the right move with the way that the true crime community has really gone off the deep end.
Oh yeah.
Looking, trying to investigate these cases. It says investigators said the boy weighed 30 pounds and appeared to have been malnourished. His hair was crudely chopped and buzzed. He had several small scars on his body, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. And they were able to use the DNA and genealogy techniques to find out who he is. And that is really something. After 65 years, America's unknown child's name was finally restored, said Danielle Outlaw, who is the commissioner working on the case. I want to thank all who have worked tirelessly since 1957 to give Joseph Augustus Zarelli his voice back. However, the search for justice continues. So I had never heard of this case. Did you hear about this before it came up on your?
I hadn't either, and that's why that was what fascinated me about it was that here's a case from 65 years ago. Long before I was. I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Yeah.
And just the fact that police are still trying to solve a case that is that old is fascinating to me.
It is fascinating. And also like I wonder, they don't really talk about in the report, who are the investigators that were still working on this, but boy, would I like to know.
Oh, I know. They did talk to the one of the investigators, the daughter and the granddaughter of one of the investigators who has since passed away.
Interesting.
And talked about how they really believe he would have appreciated the fact that they found out who the kid is, even if that's as far as they go.
Wow. It says detectives said that this was one of those cases that bothered generations of law enforcement. Cases like this even resonate with the families of those who worked the case but have passed away. One of those law enforcement professionals for whom the boy in the box was a poignant, haunting case was Bill Kelly, who fingerprinted the young boy's body when the case first broke. He was one of the first on the scene that fateful day. He never forgot about that image. I mean, how could you? He was the fingerprint expert on the scene. Those fingerprints were ingrained in his mind his whole life, and when he closed his eyes in his mind, that's what he saw, said Jessica Green, Kelly's granddaughter. I was thinking my father would be so happy, Kathleen told WPVI. Isn't that something?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But just to think that the family, I mean, it was apparently enough for him to talk to his daughter and granddaughter about it, for them to know what he had gone through all those years ago. So it must have been a particularly harrowing case.
Well, imagine finding a child like that, unwanted, shoved in a box, just terrible. And I've been following the Idaho 4 murders, Chris, and it's going cold. I mean, I had a homicide investigator on the show this morning who spent 18 years in LA homicide in the sheriff's department. Amazing stories this guy has. He's 81. I want to have him back. He only had a half hour, and he worked on the freeway killer, and just really exciting stuff.
Oh wow.
And I was talking to him about it, and he agrees with me. He says if you don't have anything in 48 hours, every day gets harder and harder, and the case gets colder and colder. And unsolved cases do haunt people especially the investigators who came onto the scene.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm so worried about this Idaho case, and that every day that goes by, police are further away from solving it. It's a terrible thing for the families. And it's hard to believe, Chris, that in 2022, you can get away with a quadruple homicide, a messy stabbing, no less. And you can get away with it in 2022. I mean, 1957, yeah, you're like, yeah, well, lots of people got murdered and nobody knew. There's no DNA. But now there's cameras everywhere and cell phone records, and you've got so many more tools at the disposal of law enforcement, and still for them to get away, it's almost mind-blowing.
It really is. I mean, we're conditioned to think that there is no such thing as the perfect crime. There's no such thing as a crime that somebody's going to get away with. And, it gets colder and colder the longer you go, but you still you hope for justice. You hope for closure. You hope for the bad guy or the bad guys to get what's coming to them.
There was a case that went cold in Tinley Park, right next to the town where I lived in Illinois. It was called the Lane Bryant shooting, and a man walked in off the highway, parked behind a strip mall. So he was not in the parking lot where the cameras were. He was actually behind it, off the highway that ran right past it, walked down the little hill, walked into the back door that for some reason was open. I don't know why it was open. And took five women, tied them up, shot them in the head, and then was on the loose in Tinley Park, was spotted by police, spotted by people. They were on this chase after this guy. They had a description, and he got away. And he somehow got away, got back on the highway, and they never caught him. And it's been years and years. And really, the only thing that a person who gets away like that has to do, if they're not identified and they're not in the system, is just never talk about it again. Leave and never say another word, never tell anybody. That's what's so scary about this case and about, I hate unsolved murders for that very reason, because if you're not in the system for whatever reason and your DNA is not in that system, you have a real good chance of just skating, getting away.
Absolutely.
And we think the cops are like magic or something, and that, they're just going to waltz in there, read a crime scene, and then go make their arrest like we see on TV. And it's just not how it works.
Right.
That's sad.
Really
what are you working on for PJ Media these days? You don't normally write about true crime, so
I don't. That was one that just grabbed my attention, and I thought hey, this one's going to get clicks too. That was kind of another.
He's a click whore. He's a click whore, just like me. Clickety click.
Let's be honest.
Clickety click, folks.
Let's be honest. But it was just a fascinating one. Like I wrote one this morning about the death of Mississippi State football coach Mike Leach. He had a massive heart attack Sunday, and it just basically took his body out. And they kept him on life support long enough for his family to come and say goodbye to him, and he passed away this morning. And so I did a story about him because he was a quirky, fascinating football coach, because he was always good for weird, just off-the-wall statements and interviews. He was just you'd laugh every time you saw him. And so I wrote about him. There was another story. I was thinking about writing something today about the Harry and Meghan thing on Netflix and how they edited one of the Queen's speeches to make her sound racist.
No, shut up. They did not. I haven't watched episode 2 yet. See, we're watching it on my locals channel, meganfox.locals.com.
Right.
If you are a member, you get to go to movie night with me. We are watching Casey Anthony tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. But we're also watching Harry and Meghan, and we've done episode 1 already. But episode 2 is coming. I need to pick a day. So we'll do it this week, though. I promise you guys we'll do it this week. But these people are the most insufferable people on earth.
They really are. It's so crazy. I've never seen people as self-obsessed as these people are.
I know, but they also, though, they want their privacy, Chris.
They
want their privacy.
Of course they want their privacy.
Can you believe this?
Only when they can control their privacy.
But I mean,
they want to be media whores whenever they want to be media whores, but then they want.
Yeah, they don't really want privacy. They want to be famous, is what they want. They just want to be famous in the way they want to be famous.
Right. They want to do it on their own terms.
Yes. And it's so frustrating. So where is this video? Let's play it for people. Where's the Queen's speech? Is it somewhere on Twitter?
A friend of mine sent it to me on Instagram. It was on the Markle News Instagram channel.
All right, hold on.
And they had the clip, and it's a famous clip of the Queen when she was, I think it was her 21st birthday, and she made the speech and said, no matter how long or short my life is, I want to devote it to the service of my people. And they edited out part of the clip to make it sound like she was only talking about British imperialism.
Oh, I think they put it on Reddit. I think I found it. I found it on Reddit. Hold on. Re-uploading. Added a slide at the end so people can visually see how Netflix with Harry and Meghan are deliberately trying to destroy a woman's 70-year reign legacy. Time for the BRF to sue Netflix. Enough of these attacks. All right, so let's see what this is. Let's see if this is the right video, because this is exactly up my alley. I got some Rumble rants to go over. Let's see. Raceland said, Raceland 9000 said, pound that plussy. Make sure you do that on Rumble, you guys. Let's get it up to the front page if we can. That would be fantastic, especially after Locals has been taking notice of me. Let's impress them. Let's get to the front page. That would be wonderful. We're going to play this on Reddit. Here we go. Let's hope that this works. I don't usually play stuff from Reddit. Let's hope. Chris, let me know if you can hear this.
Okay.
Well, right now there's no sound. Still no sound.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service.
Wait, can you hear it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah, I heard it.
Shall be devoted to your service. Okay.
Of our great imperial family, of our great imperial family, to which we all.
I'm hearing it doubled up.
I think it's because they were playing it side by side.
Ah, okay. But you can see here.
I declare
what they did.
Yeah. Before you, that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. But what she said was, I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong. That's horrific.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely is.
That's a crime. That's like the opposite of plagiarism, right? It's like
exactly
editing out the important parts to make it sound. It's not an echo, you guys. They were playing it together back to back so you could see that they've taken it out. Here, I'll show you. I'll back up. Maybe now that we know what we're looking for, it'll make sense. So they're playing it together and then it's going to separate because they edited it. So on the, let's see. They edited it. So here.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service of our great imperial family. Of our great
oh my goodness. See? They just cut it right out and they didn't use her video because then you'd see the edit.
Exactly.
So they put it over just pictures of her with black people. Look at this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's what that's the whole point. That's what they want people to see. And you would think that Harry would be like, hey guys, I don't want you talking about my grandmother this way.
There's something about him, Chris, I don't understand. And like, okay, look, I've got some affection for Diana's boys. I just do. I just always will. And I have a really hard time being like, Harry, you're an idiot, but he kind of is. And this is a thing that happens to some men when they marry or get involved with women who are really stronger than them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an unfortunate thing. I don't recommend it. Although I realize that people are individuals and some men actually do better with a stronger woman at the helm. They just do. Some men are beta, some men are not very good leaders and they need a leader. That's unfortunate. And their father didn't do a good job raising them to teach them how to be leaders, because then your roles are reversed. And it's not about who's in charge or who's the boss, because, I get into this argument all the time. My husband and I are equal, but at the same time, I expect him to lead. And because I expect him to do that, I also must obey him. If he's
Right.
telling me to do something or saying I can't do something, it's up to me to say, okay, I agree with you because I asked you to do this thing. I asked you to do this very hard thing. And so the least I can do is make life as easy for you as possible. Now, I don't always do well. Obviously, my laundry's crawling up the wall. He would prefer if I dusted more often. But I mean the big things, you know, like financial things. It kills me how many people argue about finances. It's like,
I know.
you are working against one another. You cannot go out shopping without your husband knowing. You can't do that, or your wife knowing. Either way, it works both ways. But when I see men who have women who are very strong in that leadership position, and I think that's what's happening here with him, is like she just runs his life. Do you feel that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I wonder, I'm of kind of two minds with it. Like, part of me wonders if he has some buyer's remorse and is kind of like, now I'm in too deep. I can't back out of this. Or if he's a true believer, like if she is sort of convinced him that
I think he is. I think he's a true believer. I think he really loves her, and I think that that's good. And I don't have any problem with them leaving the royal family either. Like, if that's not the life that's good for you, and it's not and I don't really love the royal family. I'm not a royal, I'm not a royalist. I'm an American. I don't get royal families, and I think it looks like a terrible life. However, not one that you should be complaining about publicly, because when you have servants waiting on you hand and foot, you probably shouldn't complain about that. I mean, go ahead and leave.
I've always been a fan of the Queen, but the rest of the royal family, I can take or leave. But I've always liked her.
Yeah. I mean, although I'm not. This idea, though, that the royal family is somehow littered with racists, and we've never known this until Meghan Markle came on the scene, is a really weird thing. Like, I don't buy it, really. I don't believe it.
It's like she has brought the systemic racism crap from America to the UK with her.
Right. Was it really a big thing there before?
I don't know. There was a case, last year or earlier this year, I think it was, with a guy who was a conservative commentator, and he's black, and he's on a British news network, and he wanted to become an Anglican priest, and they wouldn't let him because he wouldn't agree with them that the church was systemically racist. And so he joined a different denomination and became a priest with that denomination.
Wow. Spirit says England never had black slaves. I think that's true, but I'm not sure. I think they were involved in the slave trade, but I do know that they quit doing that before we did. Before America did. They quit doing it before us. So I think they were still involved in that.
And there were some slaves within the empire as well, like in the Caribbean and places like that.
India. Yeah. So there was definitely involvement in slavery, maybe not to the extent that America used it, but they were involved in the trade and other things. But I do know that the abolitionists began in England, and it started there, and it kind of spread to America. And those are the stories I like to highlight about the abolitionists, who were Christians, by the way. And this is something that I think we don't spend enough time talking about. How did slavery become abolished in the West? And it was through the abolitionists and the Christians who said,
absolutely,
and this we should stop this. But yeah, they didn't have. I don't believe they had as big of a problem with segregation and those sorts of things. Although I could be wrong. I don't know much of English history.
It's a little different. It was a little different there than it was. There was some segregation and there was some racism, but to pin that on the royal family is what's irresponsible.
Hey, Light Giver, you won the book yesterday. Here you are. You're back. You were gone when I gave out the raffle, and you won it. So you're supposed to email me so we can get you. Alvin can send you your book. Here's my email address, Light Giver. Make sure that you tell me which one you want, and I will and who I should make it out to, because I'm going to sign a sticker for you to put on the inside, and Alvin's going to send it to you. Okay. We raffled off a couple books yesterday.
Nice.
And Light Giver was gone when we did it. So make sure that you email me today, Light Giver, so that I can get that out to you before Christmas. You can have it for Christmas. And if you want to give it away, we can certainly, I can make it out the signature to somebody else, and you can give that away for Christmas. Light giver, tell me that you saw this, that you're listening, because I've been anxious about it since yesterday that you missed your book. All right. How many? 15,000? Light giver says they had 15,000 slaves in England.
Wow.
We had a lot more than that. You're not well, Light giver? You're sick? I'm so sorry. My son is sick right now too. He's got a bad cold or something, and it's just awful. So I hope that I can cheer up your day a little bit with a free book. You're getting a free book of mine. You get to choose from Believe Evidence, The Death of Due Process from Salameda #MeToo, or Shut Up, The Bizarre War That One Public Library Waged Against the First Amendment. Chris, you've written a book.
I have.
Haven't you?
I have.
And what is that called?
It's called Neon Crosses, and it's an exploration of the culture of the South.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is and what exactly, what's the topic? What are we talking about?
Basically, I use a travelogue, basically like traveling from my actually a little bit further north of my hometown in Georgia to Florida, and use different places along the way to talk about different parts of culture, from music to Christianity to food to storytelling. And we even settled the dispute on whether Florida really is or isn't Southern in the book. So,
Oh, great.
yeah.
Oh, well, what about, do you address any of the Southern stereotypes in the
Yeah,
book?
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's actually kind of the genesis of the book. Was an article I wrote, 8 or 9 years ago, debunking Southern stereotypes. And then it just basically, this went from an article into a book length thing. I have not visited Appomattox. That's one of the places I want to go. I've been to quite a few Civil War battlefields and different historical sites, but I have not been to Appomattox. That's one of the places I want to go.
Yeah, I haven't been there either, although I've been to a lot of I love going like places like we've been to a lot of places like Williamsburg and
Right.
Mount Vernon, and I was at Gettysburg, but I haven't been a lot of places in the South. I'll tell you, we've basically just driven through it on our way to Florida. But again, Florida, is it part of the South or not? I don't know.
Basically,
it
we
should
agreed.
be.
My friends that I talked to and some other research that I've done, we settled on the fact that Florida is Southern. You just have to get out of the cities. You have to get out of Orlando and get out of Miami.
Because Miami does not seem like the South.
No, not at all.
Orlando kind of does, to tell you the truth, because like just outside of Orlando, it's
Right.
it's very Southern, right?
Absolutely.
We used to have a house. My parents had a house in Greenleaf,
Okay.
outside of Orlando, and it was at this little golf course, but it was for real Southern. Like there was a Piggly Wiggly. That was the only grocery store in town. And everybody had a super thick accent. And I remember thinking, boy, this feels like the South,
Right.
And that was only a half an hour outside of Buena Vista,
Right.
Not,
Yep.
So it was Florida's a cool place. It's kind of an
really
interesting
is.
place,
It's
right?
a unique...
It has everything, doesn't it?
Right.
The Panhandle, very Southern, right?
Oh,
The
definitely.
Panhandle,
Probably
very
more Southern than some places in other parts of the South.
Yeah. Maybe, a good next book might be in the true crime venue for you, Chris, with true crime in the South.
That's a thought. I'm working on a novel.
Yeah?
That is.
So am I for the last 3 years, which I can't seem to finish.
Well, look, I'll tell you. Let me tell you about this one, and I'll tell you about the other one that I actually finished my first draft last night. But I'm working on one that's set in a town on the Georgia coast. And an FBI agent shows up and tells the local sheriff that there are some 60s radical fugitives in the town, and they have to figure out who they are and solve the mystery of who they are.
So this, and let me bring this up on the screen too. This is Chris's book on Amazon. So if you're interested in the South, and thanks 87 Sparky for the super chat. Yes. 87 says, go to Jacksonville, and that's the South.
That is the South.
So Neon
Go
Crosses.
to Tallahassee.
It's on Amazon.com. And how do you say it? Is it Kissimmee or Kissimmee?
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. So I got it wrong
Kissimmee.
both times. I got it wrong both times.
Usually, if you go by the rule that in most languages, it's the second to last syllable is the one that you accent.
Uh-huh.
So that it helps it sometimes to pronounce some different places. Florida's
So
got a lot of weird place names to pronounce.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It
It
does.
really does.
Well, you know, this whole country is full of weird sounding places, to tell
That's
you the
true.
truth. We have
That's
so
true.
many Native American names, but of course now in New York, all the high schools have to get rid of their Native American team names. So we're not allowed to be the Braves anymore, or all the high schools have to change their names. The school my kids go to is so funny. Their team, I'm not going to tell you the name of the team. I'll just say it's named after farm equipment. Which is really funny to me.
Wow.
I can't say
That's
it out loud
funny.
because then weirdos will be able to find the school probably. But in farm towns, sometimes they name their teams after farm equipment, which is funny.
Hey, you do what you got to do sometimes, you know.
I know.
But you talk about Native American names, you know, like the Atlanta Braves did it the smart way by partnering with the Cherokee Indians to host events that celebrate their culture.
Well, that's what U of I did, and they still had to get rid of Chief Illiniwek. You know that Chief Illiniwek, their mascot there, the uniform was gifted to them by the Illiniwek chief in Illinois. It was a real beautiful feathers. That entire outfit that he wore with the huge headdress was original, handmade by the Illiniwek, and it was gifted to the university. In fact, they have photographs of this event. And the Illiniwek Native Americans taught the mascot the dances. They taught it to them. It was a thing of honor, and they enjoyed being a part of the university. Then these activists come along and they make up all this shit that isn't true about how Native Americans are so offended by this. And then you don't get to ever see Chief Illiniwek again, which was he was doing actual real Native American war dances that were amazing. Like, it wasn't a joke. I got to see it live. My sisters went to U of I, and I got to go to a football game during family weekend. You have never seen anything as cool as this. In fact, I'm going to pull it up because wait till you see, you guys, I got to show you. I meant to do this the other day to show you guys how cool Chief Illiniwek really was. The acrobatics that this guy could do and the dances, it just gave you chills. There's nothing funny about it. There's nothing,
it's not a caricature.
It's not a caricature. No one is making fun. This mascot was one of the coolest mascots to ever been in existence, and they took that away from us. And I'm telling you what, you erase Native American. What you're doing is erasing their very existence. That's what's happening when people do this. You're just erasing their very existence. Let me see if this is a decent video to pull up. I don't know. I haven't previewed it. So let's watch a little bit of it because this was one of the coolest things ever. This is like in
1983. Wow.
Yeah. So cool. That costume is handmade, was gifted to the university by the Native Americans there. Oh, so cool. And the band would start playing and he'd come flying through there. And I mean, you just never saw anything cooler than this. And the crowd goes absolutely wild. Wow. And these dances were taught to them by the Native Americans.
That's some athletic ability that rivals what the football players.
I know.
Field, you know.
It was the coolest
thing.
That's
amazing.
It's so fun.
That is amazing.
It was so fantastic. There's nothing mocking about this.
Not at all. There's nothing whatsoever that's offensive.
It's a celebration of the Native American culture in Illinois.
Right.
And the idea that was taken away from the people of Illinois, who now have no connection to the Native American population at all.
Right.
Like, I don't know why you would be offended that an entire university that carries the name of your state wants to put your culture in the center of it, and that's a problem.
Right.
I mean, I will never look at this outfit. It is hand beaded. It is.
And it's so intricate.
It's
That
so cool.
craftsmanship is amazing.
I know. I mean, when do you get to see this either? Like, when would
Right.
you ever get to see something like this?
Right.
Very rarely. I mean, and the idea that it was at every football game and every basketball game and then he's leading the school song.
Mm-hmm.
So they would then sing. It was a lovely moment. It was absolutely lovely. And nobody was laughing. No one was mocking.
Right.
It's not the same thing as what's the what was the Redskins. I
Right.
understand why the Redskins is offensive.
Yeah.
Although I would not care if anybody called me the Caucasians,
Right, exactly. Yeah, right.
or the white, or the pale
white people.
faces.
The
The
white
pale
people.
faces would be kind of funny.
That's right.
Let's have a team called the Pale Faces.
Pale faces.
I mean, check
Maybe
this
that
out.
should be the Washington team name.
This is so cool.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it is the coolest thing ever, and everyone loved it so much.
That is cool.
And if you're wondering how does this relate to true crime, it was a crime that they took Chief Alinawick away from the
that's
people
correct.
of Illinois.
That is correct.
It was a crime, I tell you. I mean, so cool. It just pisses me off that we can't have adult conversations in this country and say, okay, you know what? Redskins is maybe not so good, but Chief Alinawick, super cool.
Right.
Lots of history. Let's add, instead of taking it away, why don't we invite the Alinawick to come and do an educational thing for the people at the games, or let's dedicate a building where we can put the local Native American artwork. Let's make it even bigger of a deal. Let's put a study program for Alinawick students, or for students in general, to learn more about Native American culture. Why do we want to delete them from existence? That's a crime.
Exactly.
Hate it.
It is. It's so frustrating because it is American history.
Yeah, it is American history. And what a way to create more division among people, Chris, than by saying we can't enjoy any of this real American history because it might be offensive to someone, because white saviors want to come along and pretend like they care about marginalized people. Light Giver says real deerskin sure was.
Yeah.
And can you imagine learning how to dance in that? Do you know how heavy that headdress is? And being able to,
especially at the beginning of the season when it's still summertime and still hot.
Yeah. It was amazing. Yeah, you know what? Thank you for pointing that out. Somebody in the chat, wait, where did it go? Tony says, communists always want to erase history and make their own.
Yes.
What is that 1984 quote? Where everything is new. Everything. There's nothing worse than when everything is new.
Right.
Nothing is remembered of the old. Everything is new. Everything is the narrative of the day, and that's where we're going.
Right.
That's where we're going. And you're right. They're already trying, Sinbad, to demolish the Patriots. They're already trying to erase George Washington and Thomas Jefferson by tearing down their statues and claiming that they were slave owners. And so nothing they ever did can ever be talked about or appreciated ever again, because they had failures as men, as if men don't fail all the time, every day, for the entire human history.
It's such a cliche, but nobody is perfect.
Right. It's true. It's true. It's absolutely true. So what are you working on what else is going on? What else are you working on at PJ Media?
I mentioned the novel that I've been working on. I finished one last night. It was a challenge where you write a novel in a month.
Ooh.
And basically it takes up every bit of your free time. It just takes literally every bit of your free time. And it was this one I had written was an idea that just came to me out of the blue. And it was about a couple who buys an old house, and they go up in the attic as they're renovating, and they find a reel-to-reel tape player and some tapes, and the tapes are an unreleased album by a famous band. And the novel is basically what happens as a result of them trying to find the band.
You did it? You finished it?
Right, finished it.
Are you going to publish it?
I'm hoping so. I decided I'm going to sit it aside until the new year. I'm not going to look at it the rest of the month, and then go back and look and see what I want to add, what I want to edit, and then I'm going to send it to my publisher. She's told me that she wants wants to take a look at
You
anything
and I
I
need to
write.
have a powwow, me and you. Speaking of Native American stuff.
That's right. There you
You and I need to sit down and talk sometime, because
Yeah.
maybe you can help me get past my block with my current fiction project. It's the
Yeah,
only
absolutely.
fiction project that I've ever worked on. And maybe you'd read some of it for me and tell me if you think I'm going down the right path, because
Yeah, I'd love to.
I've never written fiction before,
Right.
and I'm finding it daunting, and I want to do it because I feel like I've got a really great idea.
Right.
But I'm having trouble figuring out, should I write the end first and then work backwards? Like I'm having a hard time figuring it out. Like,
With this challenge, this month-long challenge, basically I just wrote as I went. And like there was at one point I told a friend of mine, I said, I can't wait to see what happens next, because I'm writing this literally on the fly. And I knew
Interesting.
where I wanted to go with the ending, but I didn't know how I wanted to get there.
yeah, like that. I have that. I've got like an ending in mind, but also, again, I don't know how I'm going to get there. And I think it's finding those little vignettes that go in between that are just, that's starting to freak me out. And it made me freeze, and I stopped doing it. I'm writing adult fiction, although it would be okay for kids, because I don't believe in writing, smut.
Right.
But my kids have read what I have so far, and it's a horror / mystery / love story.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun, and it has a lot of Native American understory too.
Ooh, very cool.
It's about eminent domain.
Oh, now that's something that definitely needs.
When I moved here, I found out that, so I did some research into the Native American history here, which is something I've always been interested in. And there's a lot of Native American history with the Seneca people here in New York. And there are all these old legends. And so I found this one legend that I want to turn into like a legend come to life monster.
Wow.
And the idea is, it's a true story. What I'm basing it on, in 1960, the government here basically tore up a signed treaty by George Washington and took land from the Seneca in 1960.
Wow.
And the people who wouldn't leave the land, they burned their houses down in front of them, in front of the children. Our government did. Our government did in 1960. You think that this all happened to Native Americans way back when? Well, no, it didn't. They actually just took a shit on a treaty that George Washington himself signed over to the Seneca people for, and it said in perpetuity for all time.
Oh, wow.
That they were to have this land. And the government was like, fuck George Washington.
Right.
And it's a terrible story. It's an absolutely terrible story. And I just feel like people of the modern age need to hear these stories and to hear how bad the government is. It's not, okay, this is not about, it's not about how racist we are or any of that, or how the American people are bad or white people are bad. No, governments are bad.
Yes.
A government with too much unchecked power is always bad. And that is what George Washington and Thomas Jefferson tried to tell us.
Right.
That no matter what, whenever you instill a government among men, it will one day get out of control, which is why we have the Constitution, why we have the right to overthrow any government that is violating our God-given rights. And it probably should have happened a long time ago, when people are not paying attention to this overreaching, terribly growing all the time government that just comes in and burns your house down and no one does anything. Like, wow.
That would be a compelling story, and maybe even a movie.
I think so too. I think it's going to be really great. I want you to read it, so I'm going to send you some. I'm going to send it to you. I've got like 5 chapters in. It's not a whole lot. Light Giver says, "My dear friend, thanks for the super chat. By the way, I'm 70. I have 40 books still in my shelves. I have not read. Please donate your books to another good person who is a subscriber.
Aww.
Love you all, Light Giver." So sweet. You know what? I will do it. I will do it today. I still have I think the wheel, everybody who got in on the raffle the other day, I think I still have the wheel done. So I'll take you out of it and we'll spin it again and we'll give it away to another person. Chris, I probably shouldn't keep you anymore. You probably have work to do, right? Do you need to go back to your editing?
Yeah, I need to check the queue. Make sure that Paula and Athena are not too
getting backed up
right now. Right?
All right. Well, everybody can find Chris Queen on pjmedia.com. And don't forget Neon Crosses on amazon.com and look for some new stuff for him soon because he's been doing good stuff. So thanks so much for being here, Chris.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
I'll see you again soon.
That sounds good. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
I love my peeps at PJ Media. Super chat not working for you, Liz? That's bizarre. Liz, are you a subscriber at locals.com? meganfox.locals.com? Because if you are, you can go over there and send coins and tips right there. And if you can't send a super chat, I would prefer that you just go over and subscribe anyway, because it's $3 a month. And if you're giving me a super chat every time I go live, you're absolutely probably spending more than that. And I would rather have you as a local subscriber. I would rather have you at movie nights with me. I want to spend more time with you guys. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I want you guys to see why I think Locals is so great. So I want to sing its praises for a second and show you what it is on Locals that you get when you become a subscriber and what it is that I'm doing over there. Because I think it's important that you know that this is a place where I've already spoken to people who run this company who are, they've contacted me. They have been so great. Just noticing that my channel has been taking off, that they're there to support me, that they're there for their creators. Do you know what a big deal that is? YouTube has done nothing but try to hurt me. YouTube has never tried to help me. YouTube has given me strikes for nothing, for absolutely nothing. YouTube has worked against me. And yet here we have Locals. Locals.com, owned by Rumble, by the way. And if you're on Rumble, all you have to do to sign up on Locals is hit that button. It says join Locals. Let me show you what it looks like. Oh, wait, I can't do that right now. I will do it after this video. I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you how to sign up when you're on Rumble, because they are connected. And this is, so yesterday, I made this. This is what Locals told me I should do, because everybody needs a welcome video when they come on to Locals. So this is my welcome video on Locals, and I want you guys to see it so you know why I like Locals and why you're going to like it too. Hey guys, welcome to my Locals channel. I'm Megan Fox. I'm an investigative journalist and I write at pjmedia.com. I'm also a broadcaster and an author, and I love the Locals community. Locals has been a place that I have started going to more than Twitter. And if you know me, you know I'm a Twitter addict. And when I caught myself going to Locals on the Locals app on my phone before hitting Twitter in the morning, I knew that something very special was happening. I've shut down my Substack. And if you were a subscriber over there, go ahead and cancel that. Get on over to Locals and sign up here instead, because this is where I want to be. Locals is an amazing community. It's run by people who care about their creators, who don't try to silence us or censor us based on what types of opinions we have. Locals is a place where you're always going to get notifications when I go online, when I go live, when I'm doing YouTube or Rumble or Facebook or anything. You're going to get those notifications. Locals is not going to try and keep it from you the way that YouTube does. On Locals, it's also a place that I can share parts of my life with you that I wouldn't normally share on PJ Media. I've been doing cooking streams and flower arranging and lots of dog streams where you get to meet my German Shepherd, Archie Ruckus, who is always in trouble, but so cute. He's worth the trouble. It's a place that I want to spend more of my time, and I want to spend it here with you. So if you enjoy my content, please be a member here at Locals. I would love to have you join our movie nights where we have popcorn and cocktails, and we have so much fun. It feels fun, like a place where fun is not illegal anymore. We're allowed to have fun here on Locals. And you get to see a whole part of my life that just isn't out there on the internet. It's only here on Locals. So even if you're not a paying member, make sure you sign up and become just a regular member on Locals, which is totally free, so that you get those notifications when I go live. Tune in, become a part of Megan Fox on Locals. This is a great place to be. meganfox.locals.com. Be a part of my community today. I would love to have you. All right, so that's what Locals is about. And if you want to know how to sign up when you're on Rumble, they make it really easy, you guys. Look at this. So this is what, if you're on a browser, this is what you're looking at right now. This little red button up here in between subscribe and share, it says join Locals. That takes you right to my Locals page. If you're on mobile, it's going to look a little different. It's right underneath the video that you're looking at. It'll be, I'll see if I can get a screenshot up there of that in a little while, but it's super easy. All you have to do is hit that button and you'll be right there on my Locals page. And we are doing it for the rest of December. It's only $3 a month. You get in right now on a year. You're going to get a free month with promo code PANTS, and it's never going to be $3 again, you guys. This is it. And Locals even said, they called me, man. They called me. That means something. They called me. They said, we want to talk to you because your Locals account is just skyrocketing. They said that that it's whatever I'm doing. In fact, it was funny. The guy who called to help me out, he said, normally I give people ideas on how to grow their channel, but I feel like I shouldn't tell you anything because whatever it is you're doing, it's working. So just keep it up. And yes, Liz, you know what? I got to do some chicken streams. I'll do one today. After the show, I'll go and do a Locals subscriber only chicken stream. In the winter, the chickens of winter it's a little harder for me to get out there and do chicken streams because it's so cold, and it's super cold today, but I'll do it. I'll put on my snow pants and we'll go hang out with the chickens for a little bit. And you guys, we're having so much fun over there. And I do live streams there almost every day. Whether it's cooking or, whatever I'm doing. Cleaning, we do some cleaning streams too, where like I just want to talk to you while I clean because I hate cleaning. And you guys have given me a lot of tips. My community over there is giving me tips on cleaning and stuff. It's fantastic. Raceland 9000, thanks for the Rumble rant, says you can sign up and waste money on Rumble rants. Rants for grifts. Hashtag rants for grifts. Yeah, you know what? Keep the rants coming. Keep the super chats coming. But also get over on Locals because tonight's the night. Casey Anthony's episode 2. And if you sign up today and you send me an email or an instant message you can message me on Locals when you're a subscriber, I will send you the link to episode 1 so you can catch up. But you just have to make sure you bug me about it because sometimes I know somebody's asked me for it and I don't remember if I did it. And now I got to go and look for who it was, but I will send it to you. But you guys are awesome. And I sure love our Rumble family here, and the YouTube family is also terrific. You know, I applied, by the way, to have YouTube memberships on my account. And so far I've heard nothing from YouTube. I bet they're not even going to allow me to have it. That's how terrible YouTube is to me, you guys. So they offered me the opportunity to have memberships on YouTube, and then they won't approve it. Like, seriously? I don't know why they dangle this shit in front of me. I really don't. But you know what? I would prefer that you signed up with Locals anyway. Screw YouTube. Like, YouTube is so mean to me. It's just not even fun. All right. I have some really exciting news, you guys. Exciting news. Raceland, let's see. Was that a new one, Raceland? No, for some reason it's, so since Lightgiver wants to give away the book, anybody who's sending super chats today, who sent them, let's see, it would be 87 Sparky sent 2, and Raceland 9000 sent 1 and 2, and I think that's it. So let me add you guys to the wheel. And at the end, if anybody else wants to send those super chats, there's still a book available from Alvin. And it'll be a soft cover book. And I will send you an insert to stick in there, signed insert, so you can stick it in your book. And I will add you to the list because I still, guess what? Check it out. I still have the names from yesterday's stream in my random name picker. So we will take out, let's see here. I'll add Raceland again. So everybody who was in there yesterday is still in there who didn't win. Raceland, you're going in 3 times because you sent 2 today. 9,000 number 3. And then there's what did I miss? 87 Sparky. Oh no, you won yesterday. Right. So you're not going in this one again because you won yesterday. You won yesterday, so you're out. But sorry, but I'm going to click it. We're going to spin it again. So if you guys, anybody wants to send in except 87, although you can still send me them, but you're not eligible. Who won my t-shirt? Sinbad, you're not going to believe this. But one of you offered $100 for it, and I took it right out of the raffle and sold it to her. I did. Yes, I did. Because I'm not stupid. My daddy didn't raise a dummy. And when somebody offers me $100 for a sweaty signed t-shirt, I say, you win. It's yours. I got another one though. I've got 2 more to raffle off that I haven't done yet. I'm saving it for a rainy day. I've got an objection hearsay t-shirt that I'm going to sign and raffle off. And I've got a Frosty at the drop of a hat t-shirt with the Mega Pint on it. That's really great that I'm going to sign and raffle off as well. But not today. We'll do that on a different day. Today, we still have a book coming. I also have a cozy Christmas raffle coming up. I just haven't figured out what day I want to do it. And there's some really great handmade children's hats that you guys are going to love. If you have kids in your life, I got to do it in time so I can send them for Christmas because they will make great Christmas gifts. I love to buy handmade things, and my children grew out of them, and they're still in fantastic shape, and they were expensive. And I don't want to just give it to Goodwill. I think that you guys will enjoy them, and you can give them to the little ones in your life. But I have great news. Really great news, really exciting news. And let's get to it right now because this definitely goes with true crime, our true crime, because I caught a school board engaged in a crime. Did you know that? Did you know that I caught a school board engaged in a crime? Well, I did. I caught the Wauwatosa school board violating the Constitution. And in case you didn't know, that's a crime. Now, it's a civil crime, okay? Unfortunately, it should be a felony. If you ask me, you know how I feel about this. I think that the death penalty should be reserved for government officials who violate the Constitution. Those are the only people that I think should be. Raceland, you're sending another one. 3rd time's the charm. Raceland really wants that book today. I'm gonna add you again there. Let me make sure I get you in there before I forget. So now you're in there 4 times. Good for you. Number 4. All right, you're in again. I caught this local board breaking a law, and you guys know how I feel. I think that when government officials break laws like this, when they violate the Constitution, I think they should not only do jail time, but I think they should be eligible for the death penalty. That's how I feel about it. I mean, can you imagine if the death penalty was only reserved for government officials that that violated constitutional rights of citizens? Can you imagine how fast that shit would stop? Like, execute one school board member that stopped someone from speaking, it would never happen again. Never. It would never happen again. I guarantee you it would never. Now, I am not saying that anyone should execute any of these people. I'm saying after a trial, in my world, that's how I would do things to make sure that government officials took your constitutional rights very, very damn seriously. But they don't. And you know why? Because there's no actual, Light Giver says, boy, we'd have no government left. And that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? What a wonderful world. Yeah, suck on it, Wauwatosa. This doesn't sound good. So let's watch. Hey, Sinbad, that's a great idea. Please raffle them. You mean the t-shirts? When you get to 1,000 subs on locals. Oh, you know what? I'm going to do it. And maybe it will just be for my locals. It'll just be for local subscriber. I'm going to do it. I'm going to raffle the signed t-shirts because they are the only 2 I have left from the Johnny Depp days. And you know what? I can't fit. They don't fit me anymore. They're too big. So I'm going to sign those. That was a fantastic grift idea, Sinbad. When we get up to 1,000 subs, I'm going to raffle them off to locals subscribers. I'm going to put you all on the wheel, every subscriber, and we will raffle off those t-shirts. What a great idea that is. So, yep, that's what we're going to do. I love it. What a good grift. Sign red caps. I don't have any red caps. Well, I do have a Make America Great Again cap, which I can't wear anywhere because I'll get the shit kicked out of me if I wear it in New York. So, All right, let's watch these people break the law. You ready? True Crime Tuesday presents the Wauwatosa School Board breaking the law without a care in the world. But man, they don't know They just don't know who they're messing with, do they? No, they don't. So by the way, to set this up, Farron was on with me during this live stream, and we were just sitting there for 2 hours watching these people, and they were violating the citizens' rights left and right. They were just violating the constitutional. I wasn't going to speak. I wasn't going to speak at all. I was just there covering it. I was just covering it. And when I watched them do what they did, I had enough. I was like, I'm putting my name in, and I'm going to tell them what I think about this. And I warned them that what's about to happen could happen. And it's happening. It's happening. But before we get to what is happening, let's get to it. Let's get to let's play it, because some of you may have missed it. But let's watch me hand the Wauwatosa School Board their ass. And by the way, the reason why this school board meeting was contentious was because they were voting to approve a disgusting graphic sexual ed curriculum that was so graphic the television stations could not show it on the stuff they're going to show to kindergartners. They couldn't show on television. Okay. That's how bad it was. But this is all about the First Amendment. It really doesn't matter what the topic is. These people, their entire point of being, they're elected to listen to their constituents, and look what they did.
Name and address.
All right. Hello, my name is Megan Fox, and I'll tell you why I'm not going to give you my address. For one, I just read your Wisconsin Rules of Open Meetings Act. It's a law. And the law in Wisconsin is that the public has a right to participate in your meetings. And nowhere in it does it say that anyone has to dox themselves online in order to participate in a public meeting. I want you to know that school boards like yourselves have been sued successfully before in the past for doing this. It's considered an intimidation technique. Now, you can sigh and put your face in your hands, but you need to listen to me when I tell you that you can be sued for what you're doing. You are violating people's rights. And you're doing what you did today by cutting off public comment in the beginning of the meeting when you had a full house of people who wanted to speak to you. And you made them wait 2 hours, and most of them had to go home because they had to work jobs tomorrow, or because they had to get kids somewhere, or because they had to go home and get dinner. What you did is violating the public's First Amendment rights to address their public bodies for grievances. It is a violation of the Constitution, and you should each be ashamed. Sharon, you should be ashamed of yourself. Leanne, you should be ashamed of yourself. Michael, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you too, Jenny, and you too, Jessica. And let me tell you something else. When people use names in front of your school board and they come in and they say, I want to talk to you about a specific person on the board, you are not allowed to tell them that their First Amendment right to speak is curtailed in some way because they want to use a name. That is illegal. What you are doing is against the Wisconsin Open Meetings Act. Now, listen, I have 3 minutes, and I know that my time is not up. You are not to interrupt me while I am speaking. This is public comment time, and I'm a member of the public. You can sit there and be as uncomfortable as you want, but I have this 3 minutes. So listen to me, Michael. When you are talking to people, when they come here to see you, you are put into this position, by the way, by the people of this town. They are your first priority.
Surprise. Where are you?
They are your first priority.
Save us.
They are the people you're responsible
Would you need me to mute this?
Yes.
Why
Thank
would
you.
Why would you mute me?
Okay. Sorry,
my
I couldn't
3
hear
minutes are
the
not
vote.
up. My 3 minutes are not up.
At the point where we started respecting individual board members, we devolved.
Well, they're wrong.
If you've already spoken, your time is up on that topic. Anyone?
My time was not up, by the way. They're full
well,
of crap.
Look
at them.
things.
They're
First,
so uncomfortable.
the chair has a right to cut off comment if the comment is not aligned with the dignity of the body.
Oh, the dignity. Oh, no, you
of the
don't.
body.
Oh, no, you.
Just to put that out there.
That is not what the First
if
Amendment
there's
says.
something inappropriate being said,
What was inappropriate?
now, that's a judgment call. That's true.
What?
But the chair does have authority to do that.
Oh,
the chair does not have authority under our rules to cut off a board member. We have no time limits, so I can just keep talking here once you recognize me. But to
Look at how
say
uncomfortable they are.
whether you support me or not in the community, we have an orderly process.
What was unorderly about that? I
And
had 3
the
minutes.
chair is running the meetings, and the chair has certain discretions, and
I
that's
could sue him
okay.
for this.
That's probably a good idea.
You should.
I should.
Second thing about
All right. Well, are you ready? Can you guess what the announcement is? Can you guess? Can you guess? What's my motto? What's my motto, everybody? You can go to the merch store right now and you can get one of my t-shirts or stickers that say keep calm and sue everyone, because guess what? Guess what, mofos in Wauwatosa? I'm going to sue your ass, and guess who's going to do it? Robert fucking Barnes. That's right. Barnes Law has agreed to take this lawsuit. Now, let me just explain to you. Let me explain. I just found out that Robert's going to take it. Now, I had been emailing him since this happened, asking if he would take the case. And I want to read to you my email exchanges with him, because it's a crack up, because I really didn't think he was going to take it. Robert Barnes, by the way, is a Wisconsin attorney, and he was my pick of someone I wanted to do this lawsuit. He was my very first pick, and Nick got me in touch with him. And let me read to you. Let me tell you how long this exchange went on. Hold on, because this is funny. Let me pull it up. We're suing the Wauwatosa board. Now I'm going to need your help though, because we have to crowdfund to pay Robert Barnes. We have to pay Barnes Law, but he's agreeing to do it for only $10,000, and he'll take the rest on contingency, which is a steal. Okay, it's a steal. And Nick's going to help me. Hopefully, he's going to help me crowdfund this. And Robert Barnes is going to help me too. He's going to have me on the show soon, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to crowdfund it. And if everybody we know sends $1 to the legal fund, we will raise it. We will raise more than that. And listen, it is worth it, because we have to hold these people accountable for what they do. If we do not drag them in front of a judge, they will continue to pull this shit on people who can't afford it. That's why people like me, who are connected, who have a big platform, who know lawyers, who can get people interested in this, we are the ones who need to do this. But I don't have the kind of budget. You know me, I'm burning stoves over here. But if everybody comes together, we can raise $10,000 in one night. We can do it. We can do it in one day. And and Robert Barnes is ready and willing to file a lawsuit against these people. And this is how we change the tide. That's absolutely correct. And I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for the parents out there who have been treated like absolute garbage by these people. And told by the FBI that you're a terrorist because you care about what's in the curriculum of your kid's school. And I'm not having it. I've had enough. Haven't you had enough? I've had enough of this. I've had enough. And it's not just for the lulls, although the lulls are going to be pretty good. Trust me. The lulls in this. Wait till you see their response. Wait till you see what they're going to send when we file. Just wait. I can't even, the content's going to be amazing. So it'll be worth it just for that. But aren't you sick of this? Aren't you sick of being told that you're a terrorist because you don't want the school grooming your kid with highly sexual material? And aren't you sick of these people that you put in power, that you pay their salary, that telling you that you can't speak at their meetings? Oh, fuck that. You work for me. I'm the supervisor of this government. You are the supervisor of this government. These people, they work at our leisure. They work at our expense. These are our schools, and we need to take them back. And how do we do it? We make them fucking scared. We make them scared to violate our constitutional rights, because every time they do it, we will crowdfund a lawsuit and we will sue the shit out of them. That's how we do it. We bring them in front of a judge, and we get a judge to say, what the hell is wrong with you? What do you mean you cut her off? Why would you do such a thing? Have you read the Constitution? And then they smack them with a $20,000 or $50,000 fee. They're going to have to pay my lawyer's fees, by the way. So eventually they will have to pay. And it's going to all go to Robert Barnes. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care about that. If I can find lawyers to do this kind of work, I could have sued several boards already. But finding lawyers to do it and coming up with the money to pay them, ahead of time is tough. So we are going to do it. I'm going to send the link. Okay, the Give, Send, Go has already been set up. It is givesendgo.com/speak freely. I am dropping it in the chat for you right now. It's going on YouTube and Facebook, and it's going on Rumble right now. But I'm telling you what, we've got to do this. We have to do it. This is a great lawsuit, by the way. I believe it's a slam dunk. I think we're going to win. And we will also learn along the way how we hold government boards accountable. Now, my book, Shut Up, The Bizarre War That One Public Library Waged Against the First Amendment, is the last time that I was able to do this and do it successfully. And I know how to do it. I've done it before. Okay. You enlist the right lawyers, and then you sue the shit out of the people who violate your constitutional rights. And this one ended up in a $55,000 judgment against the library. They had to pay that to me and Kevin and our attorneys. Now, our attorneys got most of it, and I was happy to give it to them, because the kind of work that civil rights attorneys do will save this nation. They deserve every penny. Okay, every penny they deserve. People like Robert Barnes, who are willing to stand up for the people's right to speak, deserve every damn penny. And I'm fine with it. You want to take, I don't care how much he takes. I mean, I probably shouldn't tell him that, but I don't care. I don't care. But let me read this exchange with you, because I just want to show you how long I followed up with this. Let's see. The first one I sent him. Okay, so here it goes. There are 2 threads. November 7th, I sent him. No, was it? It was before that. Holy cow. Let's see. It was sometime before November 7th. Wait, I have 3 threads on this. Oh, okay, right. Because first I sent him an email, and I said, I just wanted him to. So this is what I said. Hi, Robert. I need a Wisconsin lawyer to help me. And this was on October 29th. It was just a couple days after this happened. I said, I need a Wisconsin lawyer to help me sue a school board for violating my First Amendment rights. Nick told me you might be able to recommend someone. The Wauwatosa School Board not only did it on camera, but then the board president said he was allowed to do it by saying the chair can cut off comments that do not align with the dignity of the body. It was funny. Here's the video. I can crowdfund to pay for it. I'd like to file soon, and I think there will be more residents who will join me. I'm not a resident of Wisconsin, but they gave me the floor through their Zoom meeting, and I heard from others that they do this regularly, blah, blah, blah. He responds, and he says, I'll take a look. I follow up with him on the 29th. And then he responds and says, I said, hi, Robert, do you have any recommendations for me? And he responds and says, I'm licensed in Wisconsin. I'm considering taking it. And I was like, wait, what? I said, oh my gosh, I didn't consider you might take it. That's exciting. I've reached out to some of the parents who say they've also been shut down. So far, I haven't heard back, but I've been told they regularly shut down comment they don't like the content of. All right, so then I followed up with him again, because lawyers are very busy, by the way, very busy. And you just have to keep trying. So on November 7th, I sent him some more information about which laws I thought they broke, because I found their public participation rules. And this is the thing that I think they broke, was making people announce their addresses, which is intimidation. And it's been ruled on in courts before that they can't do that in order to let you speak. They cannot demand that you dox yourself in a public meeting. That's absolutely ridiculous. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. That's also illegal. People are allowed to speak to whoever they want. You do not have to just direct your comments to the board president. I also thought that in their policy that is illegal, it says the presiding officer may limit the number of times a speaker may comment on the same topic. No, that's wrong. That's not true. They are not allowed to police the content of your speech. Tarkina, good to see you. Thanks for the super chat. Says, came in late due to a meeting. Just saw the segment on the Netflix edit of the Queen's speech. Disgusting. Need to get that Piers Morgan and have him highlight this on his Sky News show. Hey, Tarkina, guess what? You're going in the raffle again, because Lightgiver gave up her book that she won. So you get to get in it again today. There's still a soft cover book that is up for grabs today. So I'm adding you to the raffle. Thanks for the super chat. Okay. Hey, guess what? we are way past time for squats, you guys. We'll finish this email string when we come back. But my ass is literally numb. And guess what? I don't ever want to be a fat ass again. I've lost all this weight and I want it to stay off. So you know what we're going to do now? Get up and do your squats. We have 1 minute and 22 seconds and Nick's going to help us with our motivation. You ready? Here we go. I'll be right back.
You impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter.
Can you just get up, walk 1 mile?
Do squat!
Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever. Get off the chair. Get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
I did at least 15 push-ups and a bunch of squats really fast. Okay, good. Look, we're going to be in good shape by the time we get done with this. I'm telling you, if we keep on doing this, we're going to be good. Butter is life. Nick is wrong. Butter is good fat. Look at all you fat asses with the butter love. You know, butter is good, but save it for special occasions, okay? Stop eating sticks of butter. What's wrong with you? Yes. All right. Hey, guys, thanks for donating. Those of you, oh, God, now my throat's all dry and I have no water. I should have brought water up here. Coffee is no good after exercise. Dang it. You know, that's another thing I need to remember. Is to hydrate. I need Bat Dad going, hydrate. I need that. I've got some bio steel. It's been sitting here for a while, though. God, I hate that fake sugar. All right, but that's better than coffee. All right. What are Russian jumping jacks? I don't know what Russian jumping jacks are. Ohm's Law Badger says, just donated $20 to the Give, Send, Go. This is awesome. Also, I've lost 40 pounds in the last 4 months on the carnivore diet, and you get to eat lots of butter. Hey, congratulations on losing 40 pounds. That's a hell of a lot of weight. You know, next time you're at the grocery store, go to the sugar aisle or the rice aisle and pick up two of those giant 20-pound bags just to feel how much weight you've lost. I like doing that with sugar or flour, you know, the sugar, the 5-pound bag, and be like, hey, I lost this many pounds, and just feel how it feels. It's an amazing feeling to actually lose weight. And I'm thrilled that I'm still keeping it off. So thank God. Light Giver says, Megan, I eat butter every day. I'm 112 pounds. Bad thing for you, oils, bread, and sugar. That's true. I eat butter. I have not stopped eating the butter, but Nick is hilarious, by the way. It's just so funny. His fat shaming is just too good. It's too good. And you know what? I almost paid him to fat shame me because I was really suffering with my weight for the last 15 years. And listening to Nick, it's like, yeah, you know what? He's right. I should get off my fat ass and move. And I almost asked him, but by the time I got on his show, I was already down 15 pounds. So the threat of it, just the threat of him fat shaming me was enough. It was enough. Oh, gosh. All right. What were we doing? Oh, yeah, I was going through so Robert Barnes, if you're just tuning in, Robert Barnes, civil rights lawyer extraordinaire. Why are my glasses refusing to clean? I feel like I've cleaned them 8,000 times and there is a fingerprint. Now I got to get out the big guns. I got to get out the spray stuff because it's not working and I've got like a cloud in front of my eye and it's bothering me and I can't read. If you're just tuning in, Robert Barnes, civil rights lawyer extraordinaire, has agreed to sue the Wauwatosa School Board on my behalf for civil rights violations. They have violated my First Amendment right to speak. They have violated my First Amendment right to petition the government, and they're going to regret it. All right, Raceland. No, Raceland, today is not a digital book. It's a soft cover book today. Oh, you didn't realize it wasn't digital. Yeah, Alvin donated 2 of my books, soft cover, sent straight to you from Amazon for the winner of the raffle, and Light Giver gave up her win. So Raceland, and I will also send a signed insert for you to stick inside the cover of the book. So thanks for the Rumble rant, Raceland, and you're going in again. And that would be number 5. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Who else? Tarkina, thanks for the super chat, says, sorry for the late chats. We are related to Chief Kuna Parker through his mom, Cynthia Ann. I actually have one of his Kachina dolls and a drum. So sad to see it all being removed. I'm with you. I love Native American culture. I think we can learn so much from Native American culture, and I don't understand why we wouldn't want to honor that and to remember it in any way that we could by including them in our culture. My goodness, what a terrible thing to start just erasing a Native American culture. Tarkina, that would be your second one, so I'm going to throw that in there. Okay. You're on the wheel again. All right, let's go back to my email exchange. So this is me trying to talk Robert Barnes into taking this case, which he, spoiler alert, he's taking it. All right, so I was going over what I think is illegal that they do. It says the presiding officer may interrupt, warn, or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Now, too lengthy is the only one there that's legal. No elected official is allowed to interrupt and warn you or stop your statement if it's personally directed or what they call abusive, because who actually makes that determination that it's abusive? Obscene, well, they violated that because the guy who spoke before me used a swear word. He called those of us who were protesting batshit crazy, and they didn't stop him. So clearly they don't agree on what's obscene. And irrelevant. Well, you're not allowed to, as a government official, you're not allowed to say what's relevant and what's not. So these are their written policies that are violating the First Amendment. And so here I'm trying to talk Robert into taking the case by saying, here's these things I think they violated. Letter F on their policy says, waive these rules with the approval of the board when necessary for the protection of privacy or the administration of the board's business. Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to do that either. I mean, especially if it's subjective. That one's an iffy. I'm not sure. So he wrote back and he said, thanks for sending. And that was on the 7th, that was before the 7th. And then on the 7th, I said, Robert, I'm checking in for an update. How's it going? And then on the 11th, let's see, he sent me on the 11th, he said next week. So that was November 11th. He just sent me 2 words, next week, like that he would know. So then on November 18th, I sent him another one, next week. Robert, checking in. Any thoughts on Wauwatosa School Board? I'm such a pain in the ass, you guys. And then he didn't respond. So on the 22nd, I said, hi, Robert, I hope I'm not pestering you. But I know Thanksgiving is coming up and it's a slow time and more holidays to come, which will delay any movement. Is there any chance you're interested in the school board case? If not, can you recommend someone? And he wrote back on the 23rd, November 23rd, reviewing it, still reviewing it. Just 2 words. I pester. I can't help myself, but I didn't want to let it go, So on December 10th, I sent him another email. It said, any update on whether or not you'd like to sue Wauwatosa? And on December 10th, he wrote me back, yes, we will take. Yes! Yes! I did it. So from October to December, I pestered the shit out of Robert Barnes, and I got him to take it. So, no, not Law and Lumber, Robert Barnes from Barnes Law. And he is a very well-known civil rights attorney. He's done defamation cases. He's done all kinds of different cases. And he does have a lot of cases going on, so he's very busy. And I was thrilled that he even responded, to tell you the truth. I mean, I would have understood if he said no, he couldn't take it. But that makes me know this is a great case, you guys. It's a great case. And we have to do this. Like, this is the only way to hold these people accountable. You guys have already raised $140 just by me talking about it here, which is amazing. Thank you so much. And I will be going on Barnes Law, and I will be going hopefully on Nick's show to talk about it and raise it as easily as we can with as little money as we can across the board. I want people to just send like $1, $2 and just raise it with, thousands of people. If we can just get 10,000 people to send $1, it's great. So please share it out on your social media. I have attached the video to the Give, Send, Go. And if any of the mods are in the chat, can you please share the link? Because for some reason, oh, there, I just got it on there. It said it was having trouble sharing for me. Ohm's Law Badger says, first super chat ever. I think it's amazing people are getting fed up and pushing back against this authoritarian garbage. You are correct, and it's time. It is time to push back. Listen, you can't let the FBI and these people target you and call you terrorists because you show up at a school board meeting and you tell them what you think and you use salty language. Like, what did I say? What did I say that was so upsetting to them? I didn't use one swear word, right? Not one swear word. Sinbad says, Megan Fox, as soon as the papers are filed in court so we can share all over. Imagine when all LawTube shares, you'll raise $1 million. Well, I need the 10,000 in order for Robert to get to work and write the filing. I mean, he's got to put lawyers on it, so he has to pay them. So we need, in order to get the lawsuit written, we need the 10,000 to pay Barnes Law. And as soon as we get it written, believe me, I'm sure he will let me publish it. And we will, because court documents are all public. We will go over it. We will read it together. I'll even get Nick to read it. He was excited that I told him that Robert Barnes is going to take it. And we were chatting about it last night, and he's excited. So he's going to help me. And tomorrow, Nick and I are going to be on the show tomorrow doing, on my show here, doing Casey Anthony opening statements. And we're going to talk about it. And he's going to, I think he's going to sign on. So I'm excited. I'm so excited about it. You guys, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. I've been looking for a new lawsuit to do this for a while. I mean, look, it really is the only way to get these people to do the right thing. It really is. And that's unfortunate, right? It's really unfortunate that we have to drag them in front of a judge, but we do. We have to drag them in front of a judge. All right, let's move on. What do you guys want to talk about? Because I have a couple more topics that we could go over. There's really not a ton on the Idaho 4. Do you guys want me to go over the Jack Showalter stuff that's going around on the rumors that are going around on True Crime YouTube? But it's going to be a big bucket of cold water on you. You're not going to like what I have to say about it. You're not going to like it. But there is, a bunch of the YouTubers, the true crimers, they think that they have a whodunit. They think they have a suspect in Idaho for murders, but I think they're wrong, and I could show you why I think they're wrong. Or should we talk about? Oh, my neck hurts. Maybe this push-ups I did were too intense. Or we could do Sam Bankman. So Sam Bankman has been arrested. He's the FTX scammer. And, I know what I want to do. You know what? We're going to do Sam Brinton. You guys, Sam Brinton, true crime at its greatest. So this is the luggage thief. You guys know who Sam Brinton is, right? He's the weirdo that the White House hired to be in charge of some kind of nuclear stuff. And he's got a lot of fetishes that he puts out online where he wears bizarre clothes in the White House, like high heels, and he's got a mustache and he calls himself non-binary, and he's clearly an attention whore. Like, let's be totally honest about this. The guy is an attention whore. And but there's some very interesting stuff happening. And when I find good journalism, I don't care where it is, I like to highlight it. And I have found some good journalism in the LGBTQ nation. And let's look for a second at who Sam Brinton is, in case you don't know. Here is this is this weirdo who goes to work looking like this. I'm sorry, but this is so dumb. This is a guy who never got attention as a kid, and like he's just determined to get as much attention as possible. He calls himself non-binary, which is a newer development, it turns out, in his life. He didn't used to identify this way. He was just your average gay guy, but I guess that did not get him the kind of attention that he really wanted. And so now he's doing this attention whoring thing. And he's also stealing ladies' luggage from the airports. Oh, that's who the Kraken person is the one that Johnny was doing the... Okay, we'll get to that maybe in a little bit if I can. Now I understand who it is. Captain Corey passed 100,000 subscribers around 10 a.m. today. What a wonderful story. This is a kid is he terminally ill? I know he's sick. And it was his wish to get Johnny Depp or Captain Jack Sparrow to, I don't know, talk to him, and he made a video for him, and it was really super cute. And he made it over 100,000. That's great. I love that. So I want to show you, though, this example of good journalism. So for one, there's this article going around, and it was going around in conservative media about psychologists saying, I warned you about Sam Brinton. I warned people, but no one listened to me. And I dug into it, and it turns out that the original story actually came from LGBTQ Nation, and an activist who probably disagrees with me on everything, because this is a guy who has been a lead activist against what's called conversion therapy for a really long time. His name is Wayne Beeson. Now, I don't have any real opinions on conversion therapy, except for my only opinion is this. I don't think people ought to be stopped from getting whatever kind of therapy they want. I don't think anybody should be forced into therapy, however, unless you're talking about someone who's a danger to society and they need to be put into an institution for some reason. And obviously that is different. But if someone goes to a psychologist or a psychiatrist and they say, I am uncomfortable with the sexual fetishes that I have, or the sexual orientation that I have. Is there anything that I can do about getting to the bottom of why I feel this way, and can I change it? I don't think that should be stopped. I really don't think it should. But this particular author of this article disagrees with me a lot. So Wayne Beeson went on he became an activist. Wayne did, the man who wrote this. He became an activist to stop what they called gay conversion therapy. Now, I will agree with him that some of these places that they found doing undercover work, that it didn't seem very helpful, and some of these kids were forced into it. I would agree that that's not a good idea. I just don't understand the laws that were made to ban the type of therapy that could help some people who have compulsions they don't want to have. Like, how can you ban someone from going to a doctor and saying, I have this particular compulsion, no matter what it is, and I'm uncomfortable with it. I want help getting rid of it. I don't know if this particular therapy works, and I don't care, because lots of people use all kinds of different therapies that don't work, or that some people think work and some people don't. Like, for instance, Reiki, right? Some people really like it and believe in it and think it helps them. And some people think it's total garbage. But I think you should have the right to go and these are bothering me. I have to switch my headphones. Hold on. It's time to go to the comfy ones. Time to go comfy. I can only wear earbuds for so long, and then they start to hurt my ears. but the funny thing is I can only wear these for so long, and then they start to hurt my ears. Wait, my cord is stuck. So I'm just going to start doing both. All right, now we're back. So that's where I stand on any kind of therapy, is if the patient wants it, if the patient thinks it's helpful, then I think the patient should be able to access it, and no government should step in and tell you you can't. Beeson, though, disagrees with me. He thinks it's really, really harmful. And I would agree with him that some of them do appear to be harmful, but I don't think it's harmful to, like, for instance, Alvin and I were talking about that doctor, the psychologist, who was saying that he helps people with their sexual compulsions and sexual deviant behavior, and that he recognized this kind of compulsion in Sam Brinton. Doctors like that should not be stopped from helping people who want to be released from their compulsions. And that could be, it doesn't have to be a sexual compulsion, right? I have a problem. I've told you this before. I have a compulsion that I can't, that I've not been able to stop since I was 2 years old. I have a lip picking thing that, like Amber Heard does, that we noticed on her lip. I could tell you exactly what that was the time she had a so-called bloody lip, because I've suffered from that my whole life. So like a person like me could use probably this therapy, compulsion therapy, to stop doing this thing. I tried getting therapy for it once. It didn't work. And I'm not that upset by it that I need to continue, that it's not ruining my life or anything. It's just annoying. So that's the kind of therapy that I think is probably helpful for people who have compulsions. And I don't think any government should be limiting or outlawing therapy that you want. Raceland 9000 says, I like the idea of conversion therapy for pedophiles. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Pedos have been shown statistically to not be, you can't help them, which is why they should be locked up behind bars. All right, let's get on to this article, because this is an example of good journalism, and I always want to show it to you when I find it. And this man strikes me as being intellectually honest. So his name is Wayne Beeson. He's writing in the LGBTQ Nation, and it's called, Has Sam Brinton's Story Always Been Too Good to Be True? Was Brinton's story contrived or embellished to manipulate high-profile leaders and elevate himself into the upper echelons of LGBTQ plus activism? Sam Brinton, and I'm going to change they to he, because I can't understand it when they use plural pronouns to describe a singular person. Sam Brinton, a non-binary LGBTQ plus activist and outspoken opponent of conversion therapy, has been charged with felony theft. He allegedly stole a woman's suitcase worth $2,325 from a carousel at the Minneapolis airport. Brinton, who served as a nuclear expert at the Department of Energy before being suspended from his duties, has a December 19th hearing. He faces up to 5 years imprisonment, a $10,000 fine, or both. The criminal case against the activist is damning. Brinton had no checked luggage, precluding this being a case of accidentally taking the wrong bag. All right, so we know he did it, blah, blah, blah. While this is a personal calamity for Brinton, the fallout faced by the LGBTQ plus community could have been easily avoided. The red flags regarding Brinton were overwhelming and obvious to all who cared to see them. Unfortunately, some of America's top LGBTQ plus activists and organizations were willfully blind to Brinton's shortcomings. These organizations, such as the Trevor Project, the absolute worst, and the National Center for Lesbian Rights, ignored clear warning signs and incontrovertible evidence because Brinton provided these groups with a seemingly perfect ex-gay survivor story to expose horrific conversion therapy practices and ideology. While these advocates were well-intentioned, they took a shortcut, looked the other way, and elevated him without ever asking, is Sam Brinton's story too good to be true? It remains an open question whether Brinton's story was contrived or embellished to manipulate high-profile leaders to elevate himself into the upper echelons of LGBTQ plus activism and achieve a level of celebrity. But ex-gay conversion therapy needs no sensationalism, and Sam's story, if truly fabricated or exaggerated, adds to that destruction by undermining credible survivor stories. Sam Brinton burst on the scene on October 1, 2010, in a riveting two-part interview with I'm from Driftwood. He revealed the most shocking conversion story that activists had heard. since the 1960s. It involved Brinton coming out to his parents at age 11 and his father reacting with a swift punch to his face. Dad just started punching, Brinton said. That was the first day that I was sent to the emergency room because I had fallen down the stairs. I was sent to the emergency room about 6 more times for falling down the stairs or tripping on the sidewalk. Now, that right there should have raised some red flags, you guys, because I've covered enough cases of abuse at hospitals where doctors take custody of kids that just wouldn't have happened. He would not have made multiple trips to the emergency room as a minor, 11 years old, and continued to give them the story of falling down the stairs for massive injuries. Like a child abuse doctor would have intervened at that point. Someone would have called CPS to have it at least investigated. Believe me, they do that for one trip to the hospital that you take your kid and they're injured, like with a dislocated elbow that you might have given them while swinging them, and they get a dislocated elbow. Next thing you know, CPS is involved. Like, they don't wait for a second time. So the fact that he says that he's fallen down the stairs 6 times, that was the story they gave the ER, and no doctor called the state. Bullshit. That's your first clue that this story is absolute bullshit. And I salute Wayne Beeson for doing it. Raceland, sorry, I thought you sent a new Rumble rant. That was the last one. Okay, never mind. Getting back to the story. I'm in this constant state of fear, Brinton also claimed. My dad has held a gun up to my head multiple times. Brinton says that he was then sent to a cruel and sadistic Florida conversion therapist, who he saw for 2 or 3 years. Brinton's timeline periodically changes depending on the media interview. Brinton alleges this practitioner used aversion therapy, which included sessions where he was tortured with extreme heat, ice, and needles. We then went into the month of hell, Brinton alleged. The month of hell consisted of tiny needles being stuck into my fingers, and then pictures of explicit acts between men would be shown, and then I was electrocuted. All right, let's go to the tape, shall we? Because we have this. We have him saying this back when he looked like a normal kid and was just identifying as a gay kid, a gay man. This is his interview that went viral, where he learned how to become a star in the LGBTQ community. The community. Which one is it? Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ready? Let's listen to Sam Brinton's lies.
So I'm Samuel Brinton, and I'm from Perry, Iowa. I grew up the son of Southern Baptist missionaries, and we were living on a mission base. So a lot of missionary families living together. And the way I like to say it is that sin entered the building. A playboy got onto the campus. And so, of course, all of the middle school boys my age, it was perfect because we'd been limited to like censored PBS for most of our lives. It was, heavenly. And I thought myself so righteous because it didn't affect me at all. I went up to my dad and I said, Dad, and of course telling on the others because I was so wonderful and it didn't hurt me. And telling them, I said, but it's really weird. I didn't get the same feelings. I said, I have those feelings when I think of Dale, my best friend. My dad just started punching. That was the first day that I was sent to the emergency room because I'd fallen down the stairs. I was sent to the emergency room about 6 more times for falling down the stairs or tripping on the sidewalk. I'm in this constant state of fear. My mom finally starts recognizing, you know what? Hitting him might not be working. So let's try therapy. And it started with the first few weeks. I had AIDS. I was the only gay person left in the world because the government found all the other gays and killed them as children.
Wait, he wants us to believe that a therapist told him that he had AIDS. He said, I had AIDS. And then I'm the only gay person left because the government rounded them up and killed them. Does this sound plausible to you at all?
If they found me, they would kill me. It's the perfect way to keep a child or a teen from coming out. And we moved on to physical therapy. Physical therapy was my hands being tied down and blocks of ice being placed on my hands.
I personally think that these are his own fantasies, because if you notice, Sam Brinton is all over Instagram and whatever in his tied up fantasies. He has all this BDSM stuff. He ties himself to chairs. He ties himself down. He tortures himself. Like, I think this is his fetish, and he's just making it up. He's just making it up. Liz, they did not do these things to him in 1980 something or 1990 something or 2000. Actually, it was the 2000s. These were the types of things he's talking about. There haven't been records of anything like that done since the 1960s. And psychiatrists did a lot of terrible things in the 1960s. They sterilized mentally ill women. They sterilized women who were not just mentally ill, but what's the word I'm looking for? Disabled, right? This is recent. Okay, he said this was happening in the 2000s. Wait, it gets worse. He won't give the name of this so-called torturer. Right, chosen one. Yeah, they lobotomized people too. I mean, they did a lot of bad things in the 60s in the name of science and medicine. So, but what he's talking about has not been seen since then.
Then pictures of men holding hands would be shown to me. So that way I would associate the concept of the pain of ice with a man touching me. It worked really, really, really well. My dad could barely even hug me anymore when I would scream out in pain. Then we went into heat. So coils would be wrapped around my hands, and you would be able to turn the heat on or off. So now if we had a picture of a guy and a girl hugging, it was no pain. If there was a picture of a guy and a guy hugging, we had physical pain. We then went into the month of hell. The month of hell consisted of tiny needles being stuck into my fingers, and then pictures of explicit acts between men would be shown, and I'd be electrocuted. At this point, I was completely done. God did not want me on this earth anymore.
Electrocuted, you guys, electrocuted, he says. And everyone just swallowed this story. The entire, gay media, all these organizations, they swallowed it whole, and they elevated this man, and he ended up being in charge of some kind of nuclear stuff at the White House, because no one bothered to check his story. And just a small attempted verification, you're going to hear what happened. A small attempted verification completely failed. This guy refuses to give out the information of this torturer. Now, wouldn't you say if someone tortured you like this, that you would want to make sure that they were imprisoned so they couldn't do it to anyone else? How on earth is this person, supposedly this torturer, still out there? I want to bring up Raceland in the Rumble chat. Says, I briefly looked into conversion therapy years ago. It was a pray the gay away stuff with little clinical backing that I saw, and the success rate was low, but the subjects were okay with the attempt. Yeah, I mean, that's the majority of it. You might not think it works, and it might have a low success rate, but if people do want this, and I don't mean minors, but like if adults want this, they should be allowed to explore that. And I mean, yeah, Tarkina says he is relaying these horrific, tragic tortures and zero emotional ties, and his cadence doesn't change, and there's no pain or anything in his voice or expression. Yeah, it's very weird, and I think watching this, anybody should go, hey, this doesn't really add up. This doesn't really. Blurple, what most of the conversion therapy is that takes place is like exploratory therapy about abuse. A lot of these people who practice the conversion therapy believe that homosexuality can be rooted in child abuse, usually SA. And so they will go back, they will ask them to go through trauma healing. And what they believe is that if once you confront your trauma, then the things that affected you from that trauma will fade over time. And that's their theory on this. Now, I don't know if that's true, and I don't know if it works, but I think if you are a person who feels uncomfortable with your compulsions or with your orientation, you should absolutely be able to explore that. I mean, it's so weird how they think, though, that a person who has been living a straight life but is secretly gay can go get therapy to become out, but you can't go the other way. Why? I don't understand. I don't know why. I mean, if that's what makes you happy and we believe that people should live their truth or whatever, what if your truth is, I don't like this orientation that I have, and I want to see if I can turn it around. I mean, I don't see what the issue is, but the government's made it illegal in a bunch of states. Like, you can't even talk about it, which is weird. I think that Sam Brinton just made this story up. That's what I think. And LGBTQ Nation agrees with me. We don't need to watch any more of this. Let's go back to the article because he just goes into more stuff about, it's just more unbelievable stuff. Let's get back to to Wayne Beeson's article. Stop, present, share. Okay. Wayne asked the questions, by the way, that a real journalist should ask. I mean, he looked at this story and he went, okay, well, I need to verify this, which is exactly what every journalist should do. And he tried to verify it, but he couldn't do it. So he's going over what we just watched, saying that the paucity of, so it was exceedingly rare to find such cases when Brinton allegedly attended therapy approximately between 1999 and 2001. The paucity of active cases that employed such barbaric techniques meant that added due diligence was necessary to ascertain the veracity of Brinton's explosive testimony. Now, Beeson, you should understand, is a journalist that went undercover in some of these conversion camps and whatever, and he didn't find stuff like this. He found things that he thought were not helpful, and he believes that conversion therapy is garbage, right? But he didn't find anything like this in the undercover investigations, and he's got survivors, people who came from these camps and whatever, who told stories that were of weird stuff, but nothing like this. So that's what caused the red flags to go up for him. Brinton also claimed that conversion therapy led him to attempt suicide, and he was later thrown out of the house by his parents. As an LGBTQ plus activist fighting against conversion therapy with my organization, Truth Wins Out, and the author of Anything But Straight, Unmasking the Lies Behind the Ex-Gay Myth, I had hoped to work with Brinton to expose the harm of conversion therapy. His story was compelling and could influence public opinion against ex-gay practices, which has been my life's mission. I excitedly reached out to Brinton, and he was oddly inaccessible, communicating indirectly through intermediary LGBTQ plus activists in the Boston area. That's a big red flag. Where he was attending MIT. The reason for Brinton's scarcity had to do with two simple questions I had asked him. Who was your conversion therapist, and in which facility did the therapy occur? This basic inquiry was critically important for two reasons. First, to share Brinton's story, we had to verify if it was true. That's always what a journalist should do, you guys. No journalist should ever run with a story if they have not verified that it's true. Just do your basic research. Second, Brinton's testimony involved a torture center where hideous abuses were... and guess who didn't verify that it was true, you guys? The New York Times, because they wrote an article about Brinton and his fabulous tales. And the New York Times, the paper of record, did not verify it. Second, Brinton's testimony involved a torture center where hideous abuses were presumably still occurring against children as young as 11. If such place existed, there was a moral imperative to rapidly identify the abusive therapist and contact the authorities to stop the atrocities. Yes, of course. And any person who would go to those lengths, to go to the media, should also expose the person doing the abuse. I'm checking the locals chat. It was dead for a while, but now I'm back there and you guys are in there. How fun. You're posting memes. What is this? Oh my gosh. There's Sam Brinton memes in the locals chat. It's so good. All right. It says, so you guys, Sinbad, you're asking about coins on locals. That's optional. If you want to buy coins on locals, that's pretty much how you send super chats on locals. You use coins. 10 coins equals $1. So that's the way they do it. So 1 coin is a penny, 2 coins is, 2 pennies, 10 cents. Sorry, 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, whatever. So 10 coins is $1. Sinbad says, add Go Chat for Barnes Fund to Locals Chat too. Yes, I need to do that. Let me do that. Here it comes. Sorry, I forgot about the Locals Chat because for a while nobody was in there, but now you're in there. So cool. There you go. There it is. All right, back to the article. Why was Sam Brinton the only survivor of conversion therapy I've encountered since 1998 who refused to answer these questions? Not only had every other survivor provided this information willingly, but they were eager to fight back and shut down their therapist or ex-gay minister. Rapidly embraced by activists, enamored by his story, youth, and charisma, Brinton began widely sharing this story in Boston. Soon, people began asking me why I wasn't promoting such a powerful example of the harm caused by conversion therapy. On October 11th of 2011, I wrote in the comments section of Queerty, until he provides more information to verify his experience, he makes it impossible for us to use him as an example. Indeed, it would be grossly irresponsible for us to do so. Wow. Listen, Wayne Beeson, you get a standing ovation on that one. Because you know what this isn't? Fake news. It's not fake news. But who did do fake news? Oh, yeah, the New York Times. The New York Times. I mean, wow. How on earth do journalists call themselves journalists when they cannot bother themselves to do basic research into someone's story like this that is accusing a doctor, no less, of crimes against humanity, and they just print it? You don't want to talk to the doctor? You don't want to track down some more of patients? You just never check. Wow. I mean, you guys, this is the state. This is the state of our news. So congratulations to Wayne Beeson for being the only journalist that wouldn't be irresponsible. In response to my public comment, Brinton finally addressed my questions at Queerty. I was indirectly in contact with Wayne, and although I know he wants me to send the information of the therapist, that is simply not an option. Counselor after counselor has seen me revert to near suicidal tendencies when I try to dig deep into the memories of the time, and I simply don't have his name. I can picture him clear as day in my nightmares, but his name is not there. And look at how he threatens suicide. That's how these people get anything. They threaten suicide. Oh, no wonder my Rumble audience is smaller today. I didn't see that Rakita's streaming live. He's doing the Aaron Dean trial, day 5. No wonder Rumble's been kind of dead. Yeah, I see you guys over there. I see that Rumble is a bunch of traitors. You know, YouTube's beating you today. How does that feel? It shouldn't feel so good that YouTube is beating Rumble. Let's see. Brinton's reply raised some serious questions. If Brinton was in such a psychologically fragile state, why were LGBTQ+ activists having them talk to the media and lawmakers? Wouldn't this be a cruel exploitation that put Brinton's mental health at risk? Yeah, you would think it would. At Truth Wins Out, we vet our spokespeople and would never expose a person enduring this level of trauma to intense public scrutiny. To believe Brinton, one would have to suspend reality and buy his explanation that they couldn't recall the name of the therapist that for over 2 years I sat on a couch and endured emotional, painful sessions. Does this sound plausible, or is Brinton more concerned about keeping their story unverifiable? Yeah, he called it. He's right. One also wonders how Brinton can recall vibrant, unusually specific details. This is like Amber Heard all over again, about his therapy experience, but not the identity of his therapist. In one striking instance, he told NBC News, there were 7 King James Bibles on a stack on the coffee table, recalling the conversion therapist's small office in an Orlando, Florida strip mall. I checked with the top expert on conversion therapy in the Orlando region. He said that no known conversion office in a strip mall existed during the years that Brinton attended therapy. After the airport incident, I called Brinton's mother, Peggy Jo Brinton. She told me that her child had attended therapy, but it was not a conversion therapist. She refused to provide the name of the mystery counselor, but added, I do love him, Sam, dearly. For the record, she also denied that Sam was physically abused or attempted suicide. Of course, let's not deny that there's a compelling interest in refuting those serious allegations. In his Queerty post, Brinton said, "I can picture him, the therapist, clear as day in my nightmares." If that's true, why hasn't Brinton tried to identify this monster by finding his picture online? After all, how many conversion therapists are there in the Orlando area? Have they ever reached out to experts in the region to help find this abominable culprit who is presumably still preying on children? Other holes in Brinton's story have emerged. In some versions, Brinton claims that he went to a Florida therapist, yet the Des Moines Register reports that he began a series of out-of-state treatments. Why won't Brinton clarify which state the reporter was referring to? Because it's not true. That's why. Because it's not true. A 2011 LGBTQ Nation story reports that Sam specifies his counselor was a religious therapist and not a doctor. Yet Brinton penned a 2014 piece for the National Center for Lesbian Rights that described his counselor as a psychotherapist, which is a doctor. The same year, he told the UN's Committee Against Torture in Switzerland, "When I was a child, a licensed psychotherapist tried and failed to change something I never chose." So when Brinton was trying to specifically ban licensed conversion therapists from practicing, he suddenly upgraded the credentials of his mystery therapist. Interesting. Despite those eyebrow-raising inconsistencies, and Brinton being the only survivor spokesperson who could not recall the name of his therapist, major national organizations elevated Brinton as the face of their anti-conversion therapy programs. I warned NCLR that they must verify Brinton's testimony before using it. I said that if Brinton isn't who he says he is, it would undermine our reputation and anti-conversion efforts. NCLR responded that we must believe all survivors. What have I taught you, people? What have I taught you? Believe evidence, not the person, the evidence. I replied, yes, we should trust, but shouldn't we also verify? This guy clearly is a Reagan fan. And then he said, apparently not. All right, so I'm going to share this because I believe it deserves sharing. I'm going to share it in the chats for you guys in YouTube and Facebook coming to the locals next. And also going to share it on the Rumbles. Because I think Wayne Beeson deserves a thank you for doing good journalism. Now, I'm sure Wayne and I reached out to him. I told him I'd be happy to interview him about this case. He probably doesn't want to talk to me because he hates conservative media, but I think he did really good work here. And I just, it's good for when I see real journalists, doing real journalisming. And I just wanted to point it out and give him a shout out because I think that what he did here was really intellectually honest and brave to come out and just say it, I knew there was something wrong with the story. I tried to warn others. And this is something that I think we should all be looking out for, the fake news. Everybody should be watching out for this and trying not to get hoodwinked into it. All right, so we are coming up to the end of our show. What I want to share with you now is just to remind you that tonight is movie night with Meg. If you are not a paying member of My Locals channel, then you're going to miss it. And I don't want you to miss it. I want you to be here with us with the popcorn and the cocktails and the laughing and the fun. We are watching episode 2 of Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies, or as I like to call it, Lies, Lies, Lies. Episode 2 is coming tonight. And if you're not a member, get over to meganfox.locals.com or hit that locals button on Rumble because it's right there for you. And you can hit that right now and get over and just subscribe. And you will go to the pinned post on the top of my page, the link to register and also access tonight's live movie night is right there. And if you use promo code PANTS on a yearly membership, you will get a free month and you will never see this price this low again. It is not going to be $3 for long, you guys. Locals tells me my channel is popular, and that means that I can ask for more, and I'm going to starting in January, but I want my original local subscribers to get it at that very low price because I appreciate you and I love you and I want you to come along with me. I want you to be in my cooking streams and I want you to help me clean my house and get my laundry done. What did I say I was going to do after this? I said I was going to go on Locals and do, chickens. We'll go feed the chickens right after this. I'm going to go get the chicken bucket. We'll go out there and we can check on them and see how they're doing. And I hope they haven't frozen to death because that would be really, really, really depressing. Don't forget to visit the merch store. And tonight, by the way, because all of these things in celebration of the lawsuit that Robert Barnes is going to bring against the Wauwatosa school board school board people who cut off my right to free speech. In their honor, somebody needs to go to the merch store and go get one of these stickers or t-shirts for you. And don't forget, I will be, when we hit 1,000 local subscribers, I am going to raffle off for subscribers only on Locals, 2 signed t-shirts. We'll do 2 signed t-shirts from the Johnny Depp trial days, an objection hearsay one, and Frosty at the drop of a hat. That's this one. I've got this one and I'll have it signed, and this one when we hit 1,000 local subscribers. So get over there because we are having so much fun over there. And directly after this stream, I'm going to be on Locals. I'm going to take you guys out to see the chickens because it's been a while, and it will be a Locals only local subscribers. And meet me back here at 8 p.m. tonight, only on Locals. You'll get the link to it. And we are going to have popcorn. We are going to have cocktails. We are going to laugh our asses off. You guys, episode 2 of Casey Anthony is a total shit show. You do not want to miss it. You do not want to miss this tonight. It's going to be so fun. All right, you guys are asking for the Give, Send, Go again. Let me drop it in again. Here comes the Give, Send, Go for the legal fund. Thank you to all of you who have already donated. You guys have already given almost $200, I think. Let me see. What are we up to? $190 already from you guys. That is amazing. That makes me so happy. I know that we can do this. I know we can raise this money, and we will. You know, you're not just paying for holding government officials accountable to the law. You're also paying for your entertainment. Because I guarantee you this is going to be so damn funny. Wait till you see how these people start reading. We're going to need to bring out the re-scale that Alvin Louis, as soon as this gets filed, the reading is going to be off the charts, you guys. And I think the fuck around and find out chart also applies here. You know, look at what level did they fuck around that they now get to find out. Would you say it's around a 7? I'd say on the scale. That the Wauwatosa School Board fucked around on about a level 7, and they're about to find out. Oh my gosh, you guys. So much fun. We are going to have so much fun on this channel. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for being my loyal fans and for just hanging out with me. Those of you who have been here from the beginning, I just appreciate you, all of you. I appreciate all of you so much. Shout out to Corey again. He just released a new video, his phone call with Captain Jack Sparrow. How fun. Why don't you guys go and watch that because that'll be fun. So, all right, guys, I'm out of here. I got to go. Meet me on Locals for Chicken Stream. Coming now, meganfox.locals.com.
I was so lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends.
Wait. Don't go anywhere. I forgot to spin the wheel. We have a book to give away. I almost forgot. Get back in here. Red Jen, you reminded me because Red Jen just got here. And we gotta spin the wheel. Hold on. Red Jen, you're still in the running because guess what? Light Giver gave up her book because she said she has too many books and she can't get through them. So she wanted me to give it away, and we're gonna do it right now. Oh my gosh. We're spinning the wheel right now. Hold on. Let's do it. Here we go. Oh, wait. I'm not sharing it with you guys. It's spinning, but I'm not sharing it. Shoot, it's spinning. Wait, I forgot to take him out. He won yesterday. Shoot. Wait, Wilkes Ells. Sorry, guys. That's not the real winner. He won yesterday. I have to take him out. Wait, is he still in there? No. All right, one more time. Ready? Here we go. S. Nelson. It's S. Nelson on YouTube. We have a winner. Is S. Nelson on YouTube today? I have not seen S. Nelson today on YouTube. And I'll tell you what will happen. If S. Nelson doesn't contact me at my email by maybe tomorrow, then I'll spin it again and we'll just keep it going until we find a winner for this book. S. Nelson, send me an email, meganfox.writer@protonmail.com. And this is one more reason, you guys, why you should be a Locals member, because then I will have your email address. So if you win and you use your Locals name on whatever stream we're watching, I can contact you even if you're not here. So being here then won't matter. Okay. Now, for real, the show is actually ending. Okay, here we go. We're actually ending it now.
My heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say. No, I don't wanna say goodbye. This time I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. And my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna say.
So thanks. Thanks for
Thank you. Cheers.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've
problem
seen
is he
Tamara
should have
John's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yes.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall what
and
he
some
went
holy
into
water.
Mr. Judson
Across the
Ford's bedroom
crucifix
with?
one.
May the
Do you
power of
recall, or
Christ
no, you
compel you.
No, I don't.
You realized his house was infested with succubuses. And
Of what it, yes.
Suck you loaders.
When you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
oh my god.
All right. Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why
number
you wanted to
known
drown
as
her.
deadliest, and that
Next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That is Ms.